Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon, and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon, crypto, and thanks button in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. Now, we are joined by, if the show is still working, hopefully it is, the Adam Meakin, 10th Man Rising, Brian's Logic, Chocolate Saying, Neil, Eli, and Arwin. So welcome one and all, together with a bunch of people in Discord who have still hung around, so welcome to you too.
Hello again.
Hello, hello.
We're back.
We are back. Right, we covered in part A of this live show as my computer, well, not my computer, but the encoder for OBS crashed, which is a bit of a bummer, but there we go. We've started again after a lot of fiddling and tweaking, and we're going to do the second housekeeping question and hopefully actually get to the video we'll react to today, which is about the Black Swan, completely devoid of anything we've covered to date. Meanwhile, is there any evidence of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety?
If there was, there would have to be some kind of motion detected that the Earth is moving, and they look at the stars that are moving and say that's because the Earth is moving. And if that's the case, then there's an easy way to find out if that's true, and that's get off the Earth that's supposedly moving, that gives the apparent motion of the stars to us. So when you get off the Earth is still not moving, like if you hover over it in the hot air balloon, or if you take a drone and have it stationary, and then you have a camera on the stars, and the stars are moving still. So it's a moot point.
A mute
airplane.
point.
Sorry.
Moot.
Moot.
Indeed.
Airplane pilots, helicopter pilots, any of them never have to account for it, no matter what direction they fly. They never have to account for it. I mean, officially, within the globe model, they try and claim that there was you would have to account for it flying north to south or south to north, so due south or due north. You have to account for it. This is what they're claiming within their nonsense. But obviously, you'd have to account for east to west as well and west to east. But regardless of that, I know for a fact, and I've proven, that there is no airline pilots that account for the rotation of the Earth in any direction, including north to south, south to north. Doesn't happen. They don't do it because it's not happening. If it was happening, you would have to do it. It's that simple.
Well, you'd have shorter flight times, right, Brian?
Well, you would have situations where certain flights wouldn't be possible. Either wouldn't be possible at all,
well,
or they would have to happen with drastic changes. You know, so.
Well, if the Earth is moving at a certain location, 900 miles per hour, and the plane that only has a top speed of 600 miles per hour, you can never get to your destination if you went in the same direction. But conversely stated, if you're coming from the opposite direction, you should get to your destination quicker, because Earth is coming at you at 900 and you're going at it at 600. None of that ever happens.
Well,
I think the entire travel industry would be different, because if you can get off the ground and destinations are either heading towards you or away from you, things wouldn't work the way they work today in reality.
Okay, I'll take that as a no.
To me, one minute.
No, I was going to move on to the video, but if you've got more to add on Coriolis effect, lack thereof,
I have as
Coriolis
well.
effect,
After Adam,
feel free.
I have.
I'd throw a different one in, and 10th highlighted it. The most obvious claim that a baller should make for rotation is the stars moving over our heads at night. We can see it, and they attribute that to Earth rotation, and that to me has been settled not with science but with logic and Airy's failure. So a demonstration to ascertain what was moving, whether it was the surface that was moving or the sky that was rotating above a stationary. And we use telescopes, tilt angles, and I won't go into it too much, but look it up, Airy's failure, and you'll see that the reason it's called a failure is he failed to show it rotating. The way in which the light transits down the telescope, there isn't the movement that would be there if it was the Earth that was rotating to create the effect. And Airy's failure demonstrates that it's the stars that are rotating above a stationary plane, and not the reverse. So Airy's failure, it's an old one, but honestly, it's not science. It's a very good demonstration, which allows you to distinguish which is moving, which reference frame is the one that's moving.
Okay,
Well,
go on, Brian.
I won't hold you up too long, Nathan. I specifically why I worked off of just a straight London UK to Accra Ghana flight, and why I use that in specific with this argument with anyone is because if I use an east to west or west to east flight for a start, then the opposition can hand wave that away and tell somebody who doesn't know any different that I don't understand the heliocentric globe model, and then show them where it says in the heliocentric globe model that you will have the conservation of momentum carrying you along when you're going north, east to west, and west to east, right? Now we know that's rubbish, right? But for someone who doesn't know any different, that could be the point they stop at and walk away. Whereas I use the London to Accra flight because that's an international flight from one big international city to another. It's direct north to south. I don't have to talk about Coriolis effect. Nobody needs to know about Coriolis effect or the globe's incorrect claim of what Coriolis effect, because what they're claiming is that what the globe heliocentrists actually claim is an actual deviation, not an apparent deviation. The Coriolis effect is an apparent deviation, whereas their claim is an actual deviation. So I don't have to talk about any of that. I don't have to go into the Coriolis effect or explain it to anyone. I just saw this flight from here to here, and that is directly in line with the globe model. They can't argue against it. There is no accounting for rotation. This is the one that's supposed to be accounting for. This is the very thing, the benchmark that's supposed to prove the Earth is rotating. And that shows, there's just that one flight. There's a load of flights you could have chose, but London to Accra, it's easy, just go back to the same one. I don't have to talk about anything else, just London to Accra. Do they account for rotation? If they did, then this would be the consequence. Do they do that? No, because it's not rotating. That's the end of that.
Perfect.
Just
Okay.
a quick point.
Brian, how long is that flight?
It's 6.5 hours. And it's
Brian, do you
just
remember
over,
how long that flight is?
Yeah, 6.5 hours, and it's just over 3,000 miles. If it was, if they had to account for rotation, the flight would be over 6,000 miles. So the plane would have to be flying at an average of 935, I think it is, miles an hour. And no commercial airliner can go faster than around 700 and something.
Has anybody ever heard the claim in the space industry that they fly easterly in order to achieve escape velocity?
Escape velocity to where?
Well, I'm just saying in their claim
That's
that
orbital
because
mechanics.
No, we got it. Humble. We got your claim. We know what the claim is, but in response to your claim to lead you Adam's asking you, escape from what to what in their claim?
Oh yeah, I from to space that we know, but I'm just saying
From
is
what?
that from the Earth, yes.
No.
It, but I'm just wondering. I'm just
You're not
saying.
being led, is what you're doing. I'm trying to answer you.
Oh,
I don't really know what you
oh,
want me to do other than answer you, but that involves you playing along while we lead you.
yes. Okay.
Right.
No,
Okay.
I'll
Let's try
admit
that
that.
one more time then, Humble. So we've got one
Okay.
part to space. The question Adam asked.
Yes.
Yeah, we've now spent a good 2-3 minutes just answering a simple question that we've got half the answer from you. Okay. So to space. From what? Not from Earth. No.
Oh, okay. Oh no, but my point was to do with what
My
the other
God,
gentleman
my
was
God, my
speaking of
God,
before.
my God.
Oh, sorry.
We're answering your question. Humble, this is irritating. You've asked, what about escape velocity? All right, okay. Adam pauses for a moment and thinks, how can I phrase this in a way that will lead him to understand the problems that question poses for a heliocentrist? So he very carefully packages up a question for you to lead you to the conclusion of how this doesn't work. His question, third time. Escaping from what to what? So we've got space. Now, we didn't need to go through why space isn't real, but we've only got half the answer to his question. Now, bumbling around it and telling me what you're trying to achieve, well, we're trying to answer that question about escape velocity is just frustrating. Can't you just play along and answer the other half of the question he asked? From what? Not Earth. Earth's what?
Oh, okay.
Alternatively, I don't know. I don't know where you're leading me. That's another fine answer.
Oh, I don't know where you're leading
Earth's
me. Sorry.
atmosphere, sphere-shaped air held on Earth with gravity, escaped through the Kármán line, the non-barrier. That's where it's escaping from. So, to answer your question about this problem with escape velocity, what does it involve? Escaping from atmosphere, sphere-shaped air, gas go down, go boom, boom with gravity, 9.8 meters per second squared, into 10 to the minus 17 torr space that gas isn't expanding into. It sounds riddled. Do you see why we wanted to lead you now, Humble?
Yes, and believe me, I'm there with you on that. I was just saying that they were talking about the speed and how that would be affecting such as the time flight times, right? So I was just trying to add to that as another indication of how they use the rotation of the Earth to indicate how it affects the speed of a vehicle. The vehicle being the claim that they're going to send one from the Earth into this imagined place. And as a part of that discussion, they say we have to get this vehicle to a certain speed. And the reason we flight in this direction is because the western movement of the Earth with our eastern movement of our craft allows our craft to achieve that speed.
Okay, so and how do they convince you of that? Yeah, they
Oh no, I'm
describe it
not
in
convinced
mathematics,
of it.
don't they? Yeah, but
No,
it
I'm
needs to be
joining
described.
Humble, we've listened to you. He's got 3 words out and you're talking straight over the top of him. I don't bloody believe it. Go ahead, Adam.
Okay, so why do they have to describe it now mathematically? To try and help reify it. If we can calculate what the speed would have to be to do these impossible things that it couldn't do, but if we could calculate the speed of it, does that add proof? Because we've got a calculation, a description mathematically of what it would do in this impossible situation.
Perfect.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, I okay.
So if you attack the foundations of the principles of the question, i.e., what about the speed transition? You're talking about Coriolis differentials, and we're saying, no, this is a separate argument to it. If they're claiming that you've got a Coriolis deflection, then we would like to observe it. Now, if they're saying we've got escape velocity, Or escaping from what to what? From atmosphere to sky vacuum? Oh, no, I'm just talking within the... No, I'm just debunking it. That's the end of that. I've taken away the foundation.
Yeah, I got it. Yes. Okay. No, it's just, well, I thought I was joining a chorus of examples of something, but I don't know why it turned into something else for me. I really don't.
Because you've stepped into their world to argue whether or not a camera would work on the moon. You understand? You're arguing that point, which is kind of... So what would be the point? Would you be saying that those speeds are impossible to achieve, or the calculations wrong? What would be your point of challenge to go in at this escape velocity? Are you going to say their escape velocity is wrong, or what are you challenging there? Because you're staying in their paradigm, aren't you? You're accepting we can have gas pressure without a vacuum to do this calculation.
Well, Adam, go ahead, Humble.
But the people who came before were basically challenging things they said too, and then just presenting an example of how it's used or why it wouldn't work, right? All I wanted to do was to just present another example of how they've used a specific thing to to support their paradigm that the Earth is spinning one way, and when we send the craft the other direction, it achieves the speed to allow us to do this. I'm not saying I support it, I believe it. I just thought I was, anyhow, but it's okay.
Okay, hold on.
Are you saying?
So you've already attempted this once, and I just want to reiterate what you've just done. It's been ignored. So Adam, I think maybe a comparison. He's saying, I can't remember which one it was, but I'll give whatever comes to mind, which is to say, if you're arguing about how far Earth curve will be, or whether or not we see too far, you're into the paradigm of accepting that there is Earth curve there. Now, when it comes to this, and I understand you're trying to say, look, here's another example where they talk about Earth turning underneath the craft. We get that. We're saying, however, once you introduce that to the Coriolis argument, and it's an easy to convolute argument, don't get me wrong, then that particular claim would be attacked on a different score for the person claiming it. Now, if you say, well, no, I only want to contextualize it within the Coriolis discussion, tough luck. We're saying no. To say we will allow the argument of contextual escape velocity within a begging the question Earth that's turning beneath to traverse gas pressure into sky vacuum, then we are working within the paradigm 2 steps too far for both Adam and my taste. Therefore, we're addressing you based on, no, the overall goal here is to snap people who are arguing this crap out of their nonsensical paradigm, not argue within it for the heliocentric globe Earth turn claim that we are contextually taking apart when we ask the housekeeping question. We're just trying to take it to that next level for you so that you appreciate that in some examples, when we're talking about Earth turn, bearing in mind we're flat earthers here, we're not going to beg the questions twice over for them to talk about escape velocity within the begging the question of Earth turn. No, we'll just take it apart based on the lack of Coriolis and keep it nice and tight. And if we're talking about escape velocity, then we're talking about spacecraft and space. And atmosphere, sphere-shaped air, go down, go boom, boom. That's how we'll attack that, as opposed to convolute the two together, because then you're onto a loser. That's all we're trying to, or I've just explained to you, although it wasn't contextualized by Adam or I, when we just started immediately attacking a tangent point to what you're trying to interject to a Coriolis discussion. I hope that's clear.
So if I can summarize the lesson that I should be learning is don't even mention that or bring it up in an argument.
No.
Why would you?
No, because your devil's advocate question comes from the position of somebody posing it as a baller. Therefore, if somebody was in the position posing it as you have done as a baller, I would attack said baller based on their belief in space, not continue with the discussion on Coriolis exactly as we snap to a grinding halt with Adam, because of the reasons just disclosed. You can get too far into the begging the question so that you're arguing, and the only win comes if you achieve it. So if I win and answer your question about escape velocity, and I win within the context of Coriolis, What have I got to do then? I've then got to move on to debunk space. But then what was the point in debunking the contextual Coriolis escape velocity with the paradigm of space intact just so I could debunk it? Mental masturbation, my friend. No need. Just move on to the premise of the question, which is, do we have a craft leaving, whether or not it's rotating or not is irrelevant at this stage for me debunking it, leaving atmosphere sphere-shaped air and entering a sky vacuum? I'm not going to entertain their question because I'm happening to discuss their nonsensical belief that Earth turns beneath us to induce Coriolis. I'll just snap it straight over to the space is fake argument. Hopefully Adam will back me up and go, exactly, that's how I phrased it to you when I said escaping from what to what.
Right.
Go ahead, Adam.
That would be the point. I think Brian's, I think you say you're joining in on the analogy, and so I just want to, can you see how Brian's thing is something that everybody can do? And within their claim, they can go on a plane and they can see it, and they can see that it's not doing that. Okay. Now, within your claim, you're going to argue the mathematics of it doing it, or it doing it slightly different. So I don't see how you would want to use it for yourself as any argument for a flat earther to take apart escape velocity, because fundamentally it doesn't happen. It's not there to witness. It's not there to measure, is it? It's something that's shown to you, as I said, fundamentally, as a calculation that's necessary if you believe all the impossible stuff beforehand and move forward at that point. Don't, because you can't, as Nathan said, you can't win on that point. You still got to go and deal with the points we've raised. Chopped.
Can I add something?
Bad debating skills on my part.
Hold on, Chocolate. Just let Humble give his response, and then yes, you may. Go ahead, Humble.
All I was just saying is bad debating skills on my part. Thank you.
Not bad, no. Don't take my frustration. My frustration is because of my current poverty, as opposed to your. When I say, look, it's irritating. Yeah, that's true. But I don't need to be so short with you. I've got personal issues. Just let's put it that way, just so you can just say, I can ignore that. My tone, right? Just ignore my tone, right? And don't take it to be anything that it isn't. Yeah, I might be a little bit shorter than normal, but it's an educational opportunity when you introduce two separate arguments that at the end of one being one, if I, for the sake of argument, was in that position, as I've been put by you, devil's advocate Stiley, then I have to stop the whole proceedings because you're a friendly and go, no, what we are now going to do is lead you into the right direction that would be taken if you're going to win this argument. And what's winning? Well, debunking the heliocentric paradigm, not debunking a claim within the heliocentric paradigm and then another claim within it on top, which is Earth turn in the heliocentric paradigm, and how, another layer further, escape velocity with Earth turn, one step up, in the heliocentric model, one step up, works with space, the sky vacuum. So you've got 4 levels of nonsense to work your way through to achieve the win. Nah, sod that. I'm lazy. Cut it off at the knees. Escape from what to what was the... I'm concluding. Hello, god damn you. Escape from what to what is the perfect response. Adam's a sharp cookie, but it's just like we have to coax you into just answering him, let alone recognizing the beauty of his question as an educational tool.
A skill that needs to be developed, truly.
Yes, Adam, go ahead, and then Chocolate was in the queue.
It's Chocolate then, Neil. I'm not.
Oh, sorry.
And then if I may.
I was just going to say, maybe I heard it differently, but maybe he's not trying to make a winning point. Maybe he's just trying to point out an inconsistency in the model. As we were just talking about how there's no Coriolis or no effect on aircraft lights, right? And he's pointing out that, well, there's definitely effect with this nonsense. Yes, it's Narnia, but they have a claim that there's an effect that they actually use, right? Now, his sarcasm might not come off the way mine does, because you guys know when I'm being sarcastic, but maybe that's what he was trying to do. I don't think he was trying to make a winning point. I could be wrong.
Go with that. Take it.
But I don't care. No offense to you, Humble. Don't close your ears. I don't care what his motive is. I just see the teaching tool and utilize it. But regardless, I know we've discussed his motive and he's maybe taken it personally. Again, no offense, Humble. If he takes it personally, it was like, well, I don't know why you're having a go at me in this regard. Why is it turning into a dig at me? Just don't take it personally. It's not. I'm always going to be appealing to the wider audience listening. And, let me know from the chat. Has this discussion helped you appreciate that getting too far into begging the questions, it's like Inception, right? You can't go too deep because you've got a long way back out again. What show number is this? Was this? Sorry, just one second. Just point
can I say something
Sorry,
now?
you can. I don't know if Chocolate's finished his point, but is this show 1826 B? Yeah. Anybody?
1827.
1827. Okay, so the show that I'm just remuxing is 1827A. Okay. Just sorting out the member bit that crashed. Sorry, I shouldn't be doing two things at once. I do have a live show, but hopefully multitasking competent enough. Anyway,
Get it back on track there. Just to address it. Listen to what my response was. It was to help you, mate. I didn't berate you. I asked you a simple question that, as Nathan spotted, was to help you on the correct path, to not go down that. So there's no animosity, mate. Just all there is, I'm being honest, is frustration because we say things and you're not hearing us. I don't think you're listening enough to what we're saying. Trying to help you.
Yeah, you seem to just
no, let's not critique him from a person. I don't care. I've just said that. Don't pick up on what I just said. No offense to him. I don't care. If he goes away in tears, yeah, I'm not going to give it a second thought. That sounds cold, but that is not the point. Now, on a personal level, if we were having a personal discussion or it was a personal issue that was at hand, different story. It isn't. It's just about convoluting too many begging the question fallacies so that you can't work your way out to defeating the globe, defeating space and sky vacuums, defeating sphere-shaped air, defeating escape velocity, and defeating Earth turn underneath with Globiolis and Coriolis. It's too much for any one man, me included. I'm struggling to just summarise it. How many bloody levels of Inception deep we are in this nonsense. Now, that's all that matters, aside from anybody's personal feelings about it.
But look,
I'd like to say something.
I want to say something, please.
Yes,
I
Arwin,
said
go ahead.
Arwin,
Yes, go ahead, Arwin. Arwin, go ahead.
So I do presuppositional deep diving a lot, right? You know this of me. I do it with Baldwin. I do it on my own show. But why it works is because I hurry it up so that your attention span can still keep sight of the original route that is making you do the presuppositions, right? If you're just going to say, oh, let's just go presuppositional there, and you're going to swim around and take your time, you're going to lose sight of the point, right? You can't take it slow when you do presuppositional deep diving because everybody's going to be lost and it's just going to kill the conversation. It's not a good modus operandi. It's not a good way of doing it. You got to be quick.
Yeah.
Or leave it out.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Arwin tries to.
confusion.
The reason everyone stop. Just recognise what Arwin's saying. Right, and probably the only person I'd respect their opinion in this regard, if I'm ruthlessly honest, because he's the only one who can do it. He can also, he's tolerant enough for me getting short with him, to skirt the lines. In other words, just a little bit more than I'm prepared to accept in terms of how far he'll push the begging the question fallacy. Because there's a point where if you go too far, anybody watching says, oh, that's too unreasonable. Why would he just accept you just say he just accepts that the sun's 93 million miles away? The audience recognise it. So Arwen has to push it as Baldwin, as the devil's advocate, so far that he can keep the discussion going. Not so far that I'll shut it down immediately and the audience will get behind me, but on the limit, so that if I do shut it down, it's like, well, it's not that unreasonable. He is fighting to be on a ball. It's not like he's begging the question that much. Everyone sides with Arwen. He's got to test that limit every time he plays Baldwin. It's stressful for Arwen. So I appreciate what Arwen's saying because he's absolutely correct, right? You can't go too far. And now, when it's an opponent, right, they're not going to respect me saying, come on, Arwen, don't go too far off the rails, or whatever I say in a coded way that Arwen gets, to sort of, bring it back onto a slightly more ball-orientated, actual rhetoric-orientated argument, rather than rumpusing would be an example of it, or moving on to a different subject would be another example, but they're a bit too obvious for the audience. Arwen doesn't do those things. I'm cringing just thinking about it because he's so bloody good at it. But he's also telling you as the audience, the one person with the most experience in doing this, don't let them, the opponent, him in this example, go too far off the rails, as I put it. You know, keep them on track. And if that means you taking charge of the argument and taking it back to its roots, in this case, space and atmosphere, then that's where you take it. Don't beg the question of whether or not we've got it and then say, oh, we'll come back to that later about the space and atmosphere problem, so long as I can debunk your claim that we've got escape velocity, and now that doesn't work within the Coriolis claim. You know, why? Why are you doing those two extra steps just because somebody's invited you to do it within their begging the question fallacy? No.
I thought we were doing a video today.
I totally agree with you, Nathan. Right? You're exactly right. Don't let them off the rails, but more specifically, don't let them off the rails for too long, right? They can go off the rails a bit, but then make sure it quickly gets back on. Don't let it off the rails for too long. Don't let it, because that's where the damage is done, and then then people lose track.
Yeah.
Right?
Don't let it off the rails at all.
So it's about the duration.
Okay, hold on, everyone, hold on. Neil,
Hello?
go ahead. Everyone, stop.
The duration.
Stop. Go
Can I
ahead.
go
Neil.
after Neil, please? Can I go after Neil?
Yes. Who was that? Eli.
Thank you.
D-Rose. Go ahead.
Well, that was original D Rose. I want to go after Neil.
Okay, Neil. Yes.
I was just saying, don't let it go off the rails at all. I mean, space is fake. We know that. So why even deal with that? I agree how Adam
Otherwise,
said
there's
it.
no conversation.
Even
yes.
what from where?
Hold
No,
on.
you end the
Let me just address
conversation.
Neil, Alwyn. Hold on. Yes, you are correct, Neil. And that is absolutely black and white my standpoint, is it not? And you're saying, hold on, you as the host, make it very black and white. I have to keep it black and white as the host so that there's no uncertainty about where we blur the lines in debate, because we want to keep the discussion going for the purposes of education or entertainment, whichever you want to label us as. I don't care. Either way, when I get to the finer point and go, no, you do cut it off at its knees, because the fundamental foundation for this argument is space, sky vacuum, and atmosphere. That's where you attack it. Now, it doesn't matter that Arwen would play with his food. No, it doesn't matter. The audience needs to know what you're absorbing, Neil. If you're saying, well, I would just understand it, that we just cut the argument off based on its failing premise that we've got a sky vacuum. Yeah, you're right. Absolutely correct, Neil. And that's what I want the audience to remember. That's why I'm so black and white about these things. And also, when people will beg the question on their behalf, like Sleeping Warrior, while I'm literally telling him in the show, don't do that, does that mean that 20 minutes later, when the show's not live, I'm sitting doing it with him all day long? That's exactly what I'm doing. Yeah? But in the show, I'm telling him he's wrong. Now, sometimes, initially, especially with Anthony, he didn't quite get that. There's a contradiction in terms of how I'm presenting it to the audience, because it's very matter of fact, this is how you win the debate with it. Well, you just don't let them beg the question. But hold on, I want to have the discussion about it. All right, I want to educate an audience about how you just wanting to have a discussion about it is them being led to beg the question about being on a ball. Well, they've lost from that point on, and I'm always going to make that point. So, yeah, there's a grey area, Neil. But, yeah, if you're taking what I'm saying, I'm not being big-headed about it, I get to the black and white, what's going to win the argument. That's why I'm praising Adam so much in this scenario with Humble. Because how does his question hopefully lead the questioner, which is Humble, about a phraseology about a Coriolis effect with escape velocity, to realise that there's an underlying argument that can be attacked and got rid of. Now, if at the end someone cries foul and goes, hang on a second, you didn't actually attack or address his question about Coriolis-based escape velocity. Did I need to? Escaping from what to what? You asked the same bloody question that Adam did.
But
Now,
with
may I-
Coriolis, we can beg the
Now, may
question
I-
that
may I-
it's got a radius.
Yeah, that's one step before. Exactly. You're right on the money, because that's one of the steps that you've got to go through in terms of those begging the questions. If you don't let them beg the question a little, as Arwen said earlier, John, then you've got somebody moaning that you're like, what, the second they even mention the word sphere, you won't let them talk anymore. That's an Anthony argument, by the way.
Okay. Prime example is what I said before the thing shut down on the earlier live. Episode 1464 and 1468, where you shredded apart someone who came on claiming about a satellite. and that he couldn't get to the satellite because he didn't have the vehicle to get there because it was up in the atmosphere, blah, blah, blah. Right there, you nipped it in the bud and broke down the oxymoron, atmo, and sphere. In between that, as the same person or a different person on another episode, 1468, who was going back and forth when you said, prove to me that you observe the globe, and you said, where's your R? This person ducked around, stuttered. Both of them had the same personalities and the same approach, which is what most heliocentric proponents do. And the fact of the matter is, the reason why they interject and rumpus you is because they know what you're about to say is about to annihilate their assertion. So they throw begging the questions and reversing the burdens on you, and then they interrupt by rumpusing you, and that makes your listening audience, who Nathan and the panel, you guys are really catering to, because those are the ones that are learning, because the motives of these callers coming in are just to cause confusion. That's their incentive, to cause confusion. And if they would shut up, or if someone could mute them, or if they would be honest and ingenuous and mute themselves and hear what Nathan has to say, or Chocolate, or Brian, or John, or Neil, whoever has to say, they would learn something if they're really in there to learn something, or when they ask a question, which they happen to ask question A with sub-question A, B through Z, which then, by that time, we forgot the point of the topic of the first question, which was atmosphere and R.
Exactly.
And that's their technique.
Yes.
I've learned that on the little time that I've not even been here long.
Well,
and I've already
sorry to cut you off,
do.
D-Rose. That was Armin's point about 3 minutes ago. So exactly, if you let them go too far off the rails, you end up with significant distance between the original point that's been made and the rebuttal, and it loses its impact even if it comes. So if you eventually get them, quote unquote, back on the rails, you've gone away from all the distractions of their original claim about space having to be assumed, for escape velocity to be assumed from an area of sphere-shaped air that isn't escaping, so that we can talk about the Coriolis. Yeah? If when you say, hold on, space, no, what's that? And they start rumpusing and distracting and taking you away from the point and discussing their feelings. No offense to you, but pretty much like you did, no offense. Not that I'm suggesting you're not a friendly, I know you are. But those things put distance between the original claim and you refuting it. That's why they rumpus you. But yeah, that's keeping them on track, right? So that we're not distracting away from it, even if it seems like, well, aren't we going off track? He's asked about Coriolis. You're talking about Coriolis. Now you're changing the subject to sky vacuums. Right, well, that's the fundamental premise for this religious belief from the person that's claimed it. Isn't that what we're here to do? Take it apart at its roots, not beg the question all bloody day. I just want to go to this super chat. I've had it open. I want to keep it up because I want us to discuss this at length because it's such a great question. First and foremost, more importantly because I'm poor, thank you so much for the super chat. Really appreciate the financial support us so far. But I'm going to labour your question in the super chat because it's epic. So I'm going to read it out first and foremost, and then whoever jumps in first is going to hopefully identify some of the aspects of your question.
Roll down and I answer it.
Is the stream still working? Everything's still kosher, right?
Yeah, we're all good.
Double checking while I'm looking at other things. Okay. Is it reasonable to argue for a close sun and moon? Ballers argue. Pause. If it were close, we'd see a significant size change in the sky. Struggling with this. But before you all jump in, I'm just going to put little quote marks around one part of this super chat. Ballers argue if that's the sun, was close. So ballers argue. I'm doing it already. I'm trying to take it back. Someone else? Anybody else want to jump in on this?
I'll do it. Yeah, it is.
Brian first.
Adam, sorry, did Adam want to go?
Oh, it was Adam first.
It isn't.
Go on, Brian.
Go, Brian.
Okay,
go.
Okay, thank you, Adam. It isn't good to argue for a close sun, or a far sun, or a medium distance sun. It's not good to give any distance to it. We don't know what it is. We don't know how it does what it does. We don't know actually where it is. We just know that we can see it.
Okay, quick pause. Quick pause. Ka-ching! Right answer. We don't know what it is. Why are we arguing about distances to it? First point covered. Brian's gonna get a house point, but Adam's gonna challenge it. So let's hear Adam's. Who's saying no? Let's hear it, Adam.
I'm not making any claims like Brian just did. So ballers argue. What we're the straw man of my model for me. Is that what they're going to say? Oh, I don't care.
Ka-ching! See, everyone's right. There's not no. You're right. Brian was right. This is extra.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking. Ballers argue, not flat earthers.
I was right. Hold on a sec. because if you want to keep the conversation going, the Bad Moon Shadow and their claim proof of parallel rays, it's definitely an interesting squirm fest if you want to lead them through that.
Okay, so
It is,
and no, that's good
but-
too. No, that's good too. So there is a response to it if you do want to actually cover it in the same way we didn't cover the escape velocity within the context of Coriolis. In this instance, what John's offered, I didn't expect that, John, but that's cool. You can still
Read
offer
my
up a
text.
response. Ka-ching! We'll go through all of these individually, but yeah, is there any more?
Well, that was my response. If you scroll down from the super chat, that is the answer. Well, that I thought at first. I don't think that is the question. Because that's where I wanted to take it, was to Bad Moon Shadow, not Bad Moon Shadow. But I think it's what, after you read it again, I read that just as that we're not talking Eratosthenes and that link there with Bad Moon Shadow. We are just talking them trying to straw man us into a model to say that they're small and local, therefore we'd see a size change. That's what they're trying to. That's what I read.
Yeah, that's
read anyway.
that would be
Well,
for me, Adam. That's the overarching point, but Brian's still
I just-
spot on too. Chocolate, go ahead.
Well, sorry.
I was just gonna say, with that, I just hear. First of all, yeah, I'm with Brian. What the hell is the sun? What the hell is the moon? Okay, and then secondly, with the question they're asking, so why is the not actual sun not change its not actual size while it moves to the sky? Is that their question? That's their problem to argue about it, not ours.
Yep.
And that actually does happen. So that's again their problem.
Yeah, so that's another one, another response like John. So we'll get to that in a second as well. So why does the not actual
Well-
size of the not actual sun not change in its not actual position as it moves throughout the day? Yeah, absolutely.
The first line of the super chat, Nathan, just the very first line. Would you read that? The first couple of words.
Is it
That's the most
reasonable
important
to
part.
argue for a close sun and moon? Question mark.
That's the most important line. It's not reasonable to argue for it because you're arguing for something you can't prove. Why do
That's
it?
right,
You don't know
Brian.
the answer, so how can you don't have any evidence for your claim? So you've not. At least they have some mathematics. You've got nothing. So why
Unless
argue?
it's-
Well, there we go. That's where I was going to go when you say you've got nothing. So that was going to be where I went with this actually. When we're covering this first, fine. So exactly, are you making a claim about the size of the sun so far, or are you allowing them to tell you that as a flat earther you claim it's close? Because ask yourself this: what claim have you made about the distance or size of the sun? If you haven't, then ask them in response. Are you claiming the sun is close and wouldn't change? Aren't you just contradicting your own claim? Because I'm not making it.
No, but after you've got them to concede that we aren't making a claim, they do. And this is when you can then pull in the Bad Moon Shadow and Eratosthenes and relate it to close sun and moon. Because they make a claim, don't they? They make a distinguishing claim that the nature of the earth can be divined by whether the sun is close and small or large and far away. So they already have a claim that we can now take apart. We don't need to make a claim of what it would be like on a flat earth with something we couldn't prove. But they've made a claim which distinguishes the nature of the shape of the surface. And that is based on Eratosthenes' sun. So that's what I challenge.
And
there
his
now.
son, to make the claim, is utilizing angles and an assertion that it's far based on that assertion, that investigation. However, with the Bad Moon Shadow, you can demonstrate that something that in the heliocentric model is claimed to be close, aka their heliocentric moon, it creates the exact same shadows. There's moon dials.
So the point of distinguishment, which is a faraway sun, is demolished because they've got the antithesis of it in their own model, producing the same thing that they said would generate a distinguishment.
Indeed.
Exactly.
So they have a claim, and like with, oh, well, your boats would fall off the edge of a flat Earth pizza pie, that's only in place because they have a very weak assertion that they don't want to be defending. So they reverse the burden and strawman you with a claim that boats will fall off the edge of your model. And in this case, they ask you about how close the sun would be in your model. that they've got what pre-prepared and served up for you as a flat earther. It's like, and that's not my model. But you want to ask me about how my son I'm not claiming behaves, when in reality, and as just pointed out by Adam, they're the ones with an actual positive assertion. Far better for you to be defending your non-claim of a close son you haven't made, when they do claim a distance to it that we can debunk.
He must be shopping, because otherwise this is Orwin's. It's just physicality assumption bias. Leave me alone with your straw man.
Yeah, notwithstanding, I like to add something, notwithstanding the implicit straw man in the super chat's query, stating that we don't know what the sun is made of, therefore we don't know the distance is non sequitur. There's a distance to something, even though I don't know what something is made of. So I wouldn't go that route. And the second one, it's pretty funny. Ballers argue if it was close, would see a significant size change. Now it's all of a sudden significant. Wasn't it before that there was no size change? Little twist there that I caught. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be real quick, and that's why I love this show.
Oh, thank you.
Because no, I'm serious. I'm not saying that just to be brown nose. For any newbie, any person that wants to learn, any glober that's really looking for the truth, any flat earth person that needs to have a reinforced approach on how to teach this, they need to consult with this show here, because this is the only show on either side that not only debunks the heliocentric assertive claims, but also reinforces and criticizes and debunks the presupposed assertive claims from flat earthers who may be doing to their best effort or may be ingenuously trying to, but they're doing it incorrectly, which is why they go in circles and never achieve debunking those heliocentric trolls that come in with these straw man claims and these trickery, reverse the burden, begging the question claims and questions. This place right here nips it in the bud. If you don't know about the sun, don't make a claim about the sun. If you ain't been up in the air 60,000 to 120,000, don't claim what you know is up there. Just work on debunking the heliocentric claims in which they can't prove, in which we have proved with tangible evidence to refute it. That's all you have to do. And that's how you win.
So what about the elevation angle? Hold on.
Yeah, we've
What
got our
about
flat
proof?
earth proof too,
no,
Neil.
stay.
Yeah, we have. And I'm just going to shout out these super chats because they've been hanging around for a while and I want to actually thank them. So thank you to Multi Tom Tom, first and foremost. Super chats seem to trigger the ballers also to help towards Nathan's internet bill. It's not an internet bill, it's a dishwasher, washing machine, tumble dryer, and 2 heaters and a load of plumbing that I can't actually afford to pay for. That's the real problem, but those are my concerns. Well, they're not, because I'm e-begging for them. So yeah, take the hint. Please help. No, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for the support, Multi Tom Tom. Yes, also Godzilla37, thank you very much. Also for the plethora of super chats. I must admit, you are extremely supportive. And he says, I heard that by super chatting, I can trigger ballers. Is that true? I don't know. Well, you'll find out, I guess, in the rest of the chat. We'll see. Okay. We're never going to get to this video today. So for all the publicity I've given this guy, what's he called? Blueprint. My mods have shared his link. I've shared his link twice. I shared it in the last show. He's not even had one word mentioned about him. But it's all good. This has been very educational. Shout out to Retro Bill. Just gives me money. Thank you so much.
Doesn't matter what it is, as long as it produces a good show. And we've produced a good show today. Right on.
Okay. Do we want to start getting into this blueprint video?
Yeah.
Sure.
Cool.
I'll save it for tomorrow.
Flat Earther learns a lesson about refraction, open brackets, Black Swan debunk. And it's by a videographer named Blueprint.
Save it for tomorrow.
No, QE's here now. Now is the time to do it. QE is the reference.
Come on, 10.
Don't procrastinate. No, never
Just
procrastinate.
pop them on mute just while I share his video link. Thank you very much indeed also to Moop for hitting the super chat. Really appreciate the support. We are going to do that. We're doing this, right? We're going to cover this guy. I've done 2 shows, an A and a B, admittedly through an encoder crash. But we are going to cover this. So, yeah, have no fear. But I just do want to shout out the super chats and explain the principle behind why I'm sharing his link. Obviously, first and foremost, he's produced this material. Thank you for producing it, because we're getting to respond to it. So I'm grateful, regardless of how it goes. And as a consequence, I want you, the audience member, to go to his video and also thank him for his fantastic content and let him know how you found your way to him, which is via Nathan Oakley 1980 YouTube channel, which, if you also want to mention that we happen to respond to his video, then that would be absolutely marvellous. And obviously, further to that, if he decides he wants to respond back, I would love it if he would do the same in response and just put a link out to my video. So that's why that whole little preamble's come. There we go. We're going to get into this. Are you guys all ready? Are you keen?
How is he going to give a response?
Play the video.
I want to drag it out as much as possible, Neil.
Don't listen to Neil.
Can I just say something real quick before you start?
No.
Yes, Chocolate, go ahead.
Oh, who was that? AI? My bad, bro. Go ahead. I didn't hear you.
Go ahead,
what I was going to say is a lot of these people that do these comments on the flat earth, they do other things, other issues. And when they do those issues, they do live streams. When they do those live streams, a lot of them have protocols where they read all their super chats. So if you spend $2, you can get Nathan Oakley's comment about how he shared the show and critiqued it to his entire audience for $2. For $2 only, this could be yours.
You could promote the fact we responded to a video about the Black Swan for only $2. Alternatively, I am exceedingly poor and you can just send it to me on PayPal. I mean, that's just an alternative. I'm just saying. The publicity also works for me.
Maybe you could list maybe have a list of channels that we should super chat to get that effect.
Anyone we're responding to, he's absolutely correct. He's just laid it out. What he's saying is, if you happen to go to this video and say, oh, Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me, he responded to your video, there's a reasonable chance they'll just go sod off and delete it because they don't want to publicise me or they hate me or whatever. Whereas if they're doing a live stream and you send them a £2 or a £1.79 for a super chat and go, Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me, he responded to your video, then there's a good chance they'll read it out to their live stream. That's what he's saying, and I totally agree. As much as I'm mercenary and poor and being swayed in a different direction in terms of my e-pegging, he's more right than I am, and overall and influentially, that would be far more beneficial. He's right. So just labour that because it's a bloody good idea, and it was implemented. I've seen this done by Infinite Plane Society, who would literally go out and spam people with super chats to build his channel, and it worked. Now, if I had lots of money, I'd potentially do the same thing. I don't. I'd rather just give Arwin the odd PayPal link, but that's just me, But for him, it worked really well, and people did go out and say, hey, Infinite Plane Society sent me, have a super chat. We're all here and we're flat earthers. But we're giving you money, so what are you going to do? Ban me? Close down the chat when it's financially incentivized for us to be here? I think not, and it worked to great effect. Like I say, I watched Infinite Plane Society do exactly that. And more power to him. Give people money. I mean, no one's going to argue with that, right? But we're right up against the end of this live show, and I am going to at least start doing this a little bit of this video. How many people? We're almost 100 people watching. Please share the show.
There is no scientific evidence, zero, none, that the Earth is a globe.
That's a true statement, because the globe isn't a phenomena. So it's outside the purview of science to claim you've got scientific evidence for it.
Wake up to the lies being told to us by NASA and the government. The globe model.
Okay. This sounds good. Oh, it's headed as if a flat earther would postulate these things. Wake up to the lies being told to us by NASA and the government. Yeah, space is fake. Can't have gas pressure without a container. If the sky was a vacuum, then the gas we're breathing, that's high pressure, would fill the space. We'd all be dead. We'd never have developed gas pressure if NASA were operating in a sky vacuum. So far, so good. I pick this. This doesn't seem...
model is easily disprovable to anybody willing to open their eyes and see science for the shysters it is.
No. Science for the shysters it is. Number one, absolutely appalling English. Number two, that's a reification fallacy. For science to be a shyster, it would have to be a person. Correct me if I'm wrong, shyster is like a Jewish term for somebody who's a bit of a con artist. Am I wrong in that? Is that the correct meaning of shyster? Con artist?
Yeah.
For Jews?
That's
Right?
It's regular German though, but yes.
Is it German? Oh, it's just regular German. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. Right, so shyster's con artist. So, no, science being a con artist, men are con artists. Science is a method, and the method is only open to discovery about phenomena. The globe in the first statement, that's not a phenomena. It's a concrete noun. So definitely all a bit shady in terms of this straw man. This is what a flat earther says, and therefore I'm going to respond to it. No, you've got a misapprehension about what science is if you're straw manning us through this, or if this has come from a flat earther. We'll see if there's a name put at the end of it. Then they're an idiot.
These words lingered in the air like a persistent smell, inviting opposition. But unbeknownst to this flat earther, this...
Which flat earther? Who said this? Just you saying it, right, Dumbo? Whoever you are, Blueprint. Did you say this? I don't see anybody's name. There aren't quote marks around this. Is this the imagination flat earther that you're attacking? Get your ass in here. See what a flat earther's actually got to say. That'll be me.
Be that imaginary flat earther who's intellectually inferior to him, isn't it? This whole thing. It's going to be him coaxing along a dumb person with his straw man of what I believe and why, as demonstrated by that appalling grammar.
Could he also show the globe model?
Well, he's correct there, isn't he? It's easily disprovable if you could show it, yeah. But it's that last bit that, to me, shows his real ignorance of what science is, first and foremost. Yeah,
You
I mean,
think?
yeah. And this is the point. But he's writing that as if I'm me, because he knows what I think and how clever I am. So he's saying that, yeah. So he's either attributing that dumbness to me, because that's how he thinks our intellect is, or he's that dumb and he doesn't know what science is.
Yeah. So it seems he doesn't seem to understand what a flat earther actually is. Yeah, he's got flames and words that he said, and he thinks that that's representative of what flat earthers say. I'm a flat earther. This is what I say. Elevation angle measurements prove Earth is flat. Space is fake. You can't have gas pressure without a container. If the sky was a vacuum, then the gas we breathe would fill the space. And you have no evidence or capability of measuring the R value for the presuppositional sphere Earth and all of the derivations of the R value, including distance to the sun and all orbital motions. Therefore, the sky is not a vacuum, the Earth is not a sphere, and the Earth is obviously, observably, and measurably flat. That is what a flat earther, that's me, actually says. Hope we got that clear.
Opposition would be more than anticipated.
At Flat Earther, science is not done by wildly guessing and being confident about it.
According to Michio Kaku, it is.
Yeah, quote Michio Kaku. Who's best at this chocolate? Is he here? Anybody got the Michio Kaku quote for seat in my pants? Guesswork.
That no one in my field knows, uses the scientific method. It's leaps of logic. It's guesswork.
End quote, Michio Kaku. So, according to this flat earther, science is not done by wildly guessing and being confident about it. So, the statement from Michio Kaku, who claims to be a scientist, he's not, he's a pseudoscientist masquerading as a scientist. But that's pretty much close enough example to your reification of science. Yeah? The shyster that is science, no, that's the shyster that is Michio Kaku, says it's by the seat of the pants, it's guesswork. See, this guessing? Well, Michio Kaku's guessing. He's the one telling you about the molten iron core going backwards. Seat of the pants guesswork, my friend. So why are you telling this about your science that you don't have for concrete nouns that won't be put through the scientific method when we appreciate implicitly what science actually is and what your pseudo-science reified professors in white coats say, and they specifically say guesswork? It's not starting out well, this, my friend. Not going well at all.
It's a minor point. It's a minor point, but he can't. He has spelling problems. I'm usually not the grammar police, but we're building a case against this numpty dipshit. So confident is not spelled with an A.
We use the globe model because it accurately describes reality and.
Sorry, that's a reification fallacy. Go ahead, John.
No, go. This is going to be hard. I'm going to shut up. Go ahead.
It's a reification fallacy, right? Models are just models. They're not describing reality, right? Explaining reality can be done with science. That's establishment of cause and effect reasoning through systematic experimentation based on a hypothesis after observing natural phenomena and asking why the hell it's happening. But that's not utilizing models to describe reality. Further to that, you can describe stuff all day long and it's meaningless. I can describe unicorns with a unicorn model. So what? You're saying this describes reality. No, contrary, it's a reification fallacy. Anything you want to add? Anybody?
Has he got that globe model to show us?
Oh, God, yeah. Huey said that earlier. Huey, do you want to just reiterate Brian's point that he had from you when he said it? Can we see that globe model? Yeah? Can we have a little look at it? We use the globe model. Let's have a look at it. Yeah? With all its glory, with its gas pressure, without a container, and its gravity, and its space-time bending. Yeah, let's see the globe model, please. A complete one. Obviously, you've got one, right? The one that you're referring to. Let's see it.
You can make predictions. Some
predictions? Oh, God, every word's going to get a response. This is going to take a while. Go ahead, whoever that was.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to jump on. I just said better again, but what I'm trying to say is better again. Show me one of these predictions that are based on it.
Okay, so he's talking about science. He opened up by exclaiming that basically flat earthers don't understand what science and allude to science reified into a conspiracy of deception from shysters, right? That's what he's alluding to. So we're definitely talking about science. Okay, let me educate you, Blueprint. Predictions in the context of science are hypotheses. And a hypothesis establishes a presumed cause of an effect you are studying in nature. So a hypothesis, that's a scientific prediction, is formulated as follows. If A, that's your presumed cause, then B, the effect you're studying. Also contrasted within the hypothesis, you have a null, which is if A, your presumed cause of the effect you're studying, then not B. That would be a null outcome. Zero difference result. You don't cause the effect. A scientific prediction has both of those predictions. Now, obviously, by the inability to violate the law of non-contradiction, you can't have both A cause B and not cause B simultaneously. Only one can be true. This, if A then B, or if A not B, is a scientific prediction, aka hypothesis. That is what a prediction is. Models, that's your reification fallacy earlier in the sentence, they don't do that. That's just a reification fallacy. You're a numpty.
Well, Nathan,
more.
Nathan,
Brian first. Hold on, 10th. Go ahead, Brian.
I'm sorry, Brian. Let me just interrupt.
Yeah, I'll be quick.
I got to go, but I put.
Oh, you go first then.
Go ahead, 10th.
Let me just. Thank you. I got to go, but I posted Michio Kaku's quote in Master D.
Okay. What I was going to say.
In science, we always say that you make observations, you have a theory, you go make more observations, and it's a very, very tedious process. Wrong. Nobody that I know of in my field uses the so-called scientific method.
It missed off the end bit. He said it's guesswork. It's by the seat of your pants. He missed the end bit. Oh well. Thank you anyway.
In the past, the nuclear industry has seriously misled the American public about the safety risks and about the economics of nuclear power.
My bad. That was the video playing afterwards. Sorry.
Well, I'd just like to say about the video, it's supposed to be a debunking of the Black Swan argument. Now, so far, he hasn't gone anywhere near that argument. He seems to just, when you hear one of these videos from an anti-flat earther, when they are starting off with character assassination, straw man arguments and all this, you can tell, just if not for you all know this, but for anyone new out there listening to this, when you hear that in the start of a video, you can just turn that video off there and then, because you can be sure that these people who are making it, these people or person or whatever that's making this video, have no idea what they're talking about, or straight up just have no argument. And normally it's just both. If they had an argument, they wouldn't be needing to do any of this. We don't need any of this nonsense. We get our facts correct. We make our argument. It's very clear. We don't mess around. So anyone that's doing that, you can be sure they don't have an argument.
The first slide was the giveaway for me, right? We know these ballers, the kings of projection. And that word shyster has been just playing on my mind. And that's all this is. Shyster is, he's not informed. You know what I mean? He's just being a shyster to us.
Yeah, they don't even know their own model. This is the worst thing about it. Like they don't even know their own model. Yet they're trying to hand you some straw man model. Go on, sorry, Kiwi.
No, they don't even know their own model that doesn't exist.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. That's better.
We did invite you to say that earlier when he brought it up on screen, QE, but you weren't around. But yeah, exactly. Can we see that model? Is that
Yeah.
I
was going to say, we got the model out.
I like the point that QE said that, because QE said that to me on Ball Busters. I had made a mistake and I had said their model, and he corrected me right away. What model? Does it have a vacuum of space and all the other components within it? And I said, you got a good point, because I was basing my layman understanding of the model being the spinning ball that's in the classrooms and the libraries, and the little set with the sun in the middle and the little rocks floating around it kindergarten children play with, as the science teacher lies to them and says, see, we rotate and we orbit around this. That's what my layman understanding was, speaking in reference on that side. But he broke it down. That is not a model. That's nothing but a toy. That's like,
yeah, fair, but it is a model. It is a model of something. It's just not a model of what they want.
Right. Exactly.
Well, the problem is, and I'm sure QE won't disagree with me here, is they're trying to promote that globe model or heliocentric model as a scientific model, which it is not. It shows they don't know what a scientific model is. QE knows what it is. He taught me about what it was. They don't know what it is. It's not a scientific model. So ask them to define what type of model it is. Because QE, now that's not me, QE has done this before. Define what type of model it is and see what they come back with. Because you can point out and prove to them, no, that's not a scientific model. Scientific model is based on proven hypotheses. You know, that adhere to scientific method. That's what builds a scientific model.
But I thought the science was settled. Earth is a globe.
But you don't. It's not like you settle science. Again, it's a bit of on the borderline of being a reification.
Oh, I hate that.
Yeah. Have you got an experiment to show the cause and effect reasoning behind the phenomena that you studied and proved and explained how it occurred by varying the cause of it to show it caused it? If you have, then you've got science. If you haven't, then it's not open to discussion. It's not going to be reified into some shyster. It's just a method.
Yeah, there's no such thing as settled. Yeah, sorry.
I was going to say that's one of those instances where they kind of snatch their own wigs off, because you got people on the same side saying, well, the science is settled. Then other people say, well, science is always changing and molding. And it's like, you guys might want to work all that out first before coming
The
to
science
us.
is mutating.
Have you guys ever seen, so like on clerical programs, you can chart, graph, and model data using iconographic representations. And usually when you pick it, you have multiple choices. You have pie chart, you have a tower stack, you have a three-dimensional tower stack, you have reliefs, you have all these things. Now you can pick any of them and it'll quote unquote model your data into a graphical form. You could also then take that graphical form to a sculptor and say, please make me a three-dimensional model of this graphical form, right? And they would do so, and you'd look at it and be like, oh, wow, that's cool. It takes up three-dimensional space. Does that mean that those objects exist anywhere? No.
No.
So if someone shows you like these planet, little baby planets going around on little copper wires around each other, like what does that represent? Well, it's an interpretation of information that was first interpreted from the phenomenal world. So all it is an interpretative matrix that's represented in three-dimensional form. It's kind of similar to interpretive dance. It's like, how do you feel about the globe model? Plie, plie, plie.
But I do agree
What
with one
Earth
thing.
model is incapable of. Are you prepared to back up your beliefs?
At Blueprint, models are not reality. Seriously, all you have to do is look at the horizon to see that.
Sorry.
Okay.
Can I just say something before?
Yeah, go ahead, Brian.
Because I didn't get a chance to say it before you play the video again. That term that Neil used, it grates on me. I hate it. Normally I'd let it go on this, but I can't. The science is settled. What does that mean? That everyone agreed upon it. It's not an agree-disagree situation. I don't care whether you agree with my hypothesis test or disagree with it. If I've adhered to the scientific method and everything is as it should be, then I don't care what your opinion is. Settled means what? We all agreed on a consensus. It's rubbish.
No,
Sorry, I had to
Brian,
say
you,
that.
you hit. Hold on, you
No,
hit
it's,
right in
it's
the head.
magic
After
dust, and it just settles.
No, after experiment, then it's settled. I agree.
But
Yeah,
there is
yeah.
no settled.
Yeah. The scientific
no
method, if adhered to correctly, offers empirical evidence. That's a statement you can get behind. The statement that Brian's taking offence to, and I don't bloody blame him, because it's used by people who aren't claiming science. They're going to be using a pseudoscience claim when they say it's settled. What, because the philosophers, pipe-smoking, slipper-wearing, bad-breath idiots, have said that it's correct because they've agreed upon it? Or maybe Sabine Hosselfeder will come along afterwards and say, oh, well, while they all agree about this, I actually think that if you overlay two different diffraction patterns, it actually makes just a bigger diffraction pattern. Therefore, delayed choice quantum eraser just doesn't make any sense and I can debunk it. You're like, okay, so what, not settled anymore? So what, not science anymore because they're arguing about it now? No, science is just a method. If it's adhered to, you have an empirical outcome. As I described earlier, you can only have one outcome if you vary A to see if it causes B. If it causes B, tick. You validated your alternative hypothesis. If you don't, then you validate your your null. Tick. No, it didn't cause B. That's the only outcome. Well, that's empirical. Very basic in that regard. In the logic terms of the scientific method, it couldn't get any more basic in terms of the two logic gates that you put in the question through. Either it causes something to happen when you vary your presumed cause, or it does not cause something to happen when you vary your presumed cause. That's the only two outcomes. That's it. That's so basic. Well, that's empirical. What men discuss and what models show isn't that. So that's not science. Those other things that aren't going through that method aren't science. Therefore saying it's science and it's settled. Yeah, we know what that implies. Right, Brian?
Yeah, it means that people had a consensus agreement on something. That's what it
But
means.
then that's not science and it's not settled. Agreed,
Precisely.
Nathan.
Yes. Okay, let's just address this last bit from this guy. So we were a little bit into the last bit that Neil said as opposed to this guy. So we'll hear it again.
Are you prepared to back up your beliefs?
At Blueprint, models are not reality.
That's correct.
Objection.
Go on.
It's not a belief that we're pushing, so I don't really need to back up belief. Measurements aren't belief. Science isn't belief. So he has a belief that he's trying to back up. I would guess, but I don't think we're pushing any beliefs here.
No?
Is the guy that just said that, is this a Glober's video? Did a Glober just say models are not reality? Is that what I just heard?
No,
No, that's the guy he's reviewing.
What he's now doing is he's saying that this is a flat earther that is conjured in his imagination because there's no names and quotes around anything. At Blueprint, in other words, this is a flat earther for him and his narrative talking to him. Models are not reality is the first thing the flat earther says to him contextually. Make sense?
Seriously, all you have to do is look at the horizon to see that.
No, just looking at the horizon achieves nothing. Literally nothing. So any flat earther that has postulated to you that just looking at the horizon shows that models are not reality is a non sequitur. Doesn't make any sense.
At Flat Earther.
So let's see if he points out the non sequitur fallacy. Given that it's him pushing it down, I'm pretty sure he won't address the non sequitur fallacy because it's him strawmanning a flat earther that doesn't exist, that he's conjured in his own mind's eye.
Nice deflection, but if you could disprove the globe model,
You can't get an elevation angle measurement from a curved baseline. Done.
that does not mean that the Earth is flat.
You can only get an elevation angle measurement to navigate the surface of Earth if Earth is flat. It is a prerequisite. You cannot perform celestial navigation unless Earth is flat. So, contrary to Blueprint's response to his conjured imagination land flat earther that doesn't exist, we can absolutely disprove the globe model because the globe model does not work with elevation angle measurements. It's impossible. They are used daily, and yes, aeroplanes still have sextants on them to this day to achieve this flat Earth elevation angle measurement. Angle, two straight lines. The baseline required to perform this method proves Earth is flat. There you go. Done.
Hey, Blueprint. Blueprint, you numpty dipshit. Can you show us that globe model? I promise you, if you show me that globe model, I will disprove it right in front of you and your audience, clown.
Again, are you prepared to back up your beliefs?
I think John just covered this earlier. It is not a belief when I state as a fact that Earth is required to be flat in order to perform celestial navigation, because you cannot acquire an elevation angle measurement if Earth has a curved surface. That's not a belief. That's a fact of celestial navigation. You don't have to like it. Your capitalized belief in your model that you haven't shown us is your problem. We, on the other hand, don't back what we say about Earth being flat with beliefs. We back it with facts. Elevation angle measurements are performed on the surface of Earth to navigate the surface of Earth and require Earth to be flat.
At Blueprint, it wasn't a deflection. I got the horizon from the Black Swan observation. The Black Swan observation is impossible on the globe Earth. Not my problem if you are too lazy to Google it.
The statement in the first respect doesn't in any way match what is postulated up until now. Suddenly we're pulling the horizon because it was dropped in randomly earlier as a non sequitur. Did I not identify that particular part with his use of the horizon, which proved absolutely nothing at that point, as a non sequitur? Because maybe he's misunderstanding what the Black Swan actually does. It's an assertion from the standpoint of the globe, begging the question, if you want to call it, in the first instance. So the assertion comes with the following statement. If the Earth is a sphere, that's your position, not the flat earthers. That's how the modus tollens in the Black Swan works. If the Earth is a sphere with a radius of 3959 miles, then every distance to your globe horizon can be no more than 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet as per your globe Earth maths. Like, I don't really understand this claim that a flat earther's positioning the horizon in this regard when it's a globe claim of a physical geometric limitation in your maths that is taken apart in the Black Swan. I'm going to guess at this stage the guy doesn't understand the Black Swan. Let's see if I'm right.
Hold on.
Someone say hold on.
Yeah, I was going to say what he's doing is he's separating the argument and the picture and putting them so far apart, right? So now it's just dealing with the picture, not the argument. That's why he's calling it the Black Swan photo.
Ah, missed that.
Yeah.
Yes, good catch. Just got to look at the Black Swan photo. Then he's misinterpreted what Black Swan means. No, it's an argument form. Modus tollens. Karl Popper making it the famous Black Swan from Karl Popper in terms of his analogy for it. That's an argumentation form, not just a photograph. That's its namesake. That's the example we give alongside the modus tollens argument. And you're saying he's going to detach it from the argument and make it about only the picture. It's fine. We'll see how we get on with that.
Yeah, that's next.
From 1 foot above the ground to the horizon line is only 1.22 miles out, yet clearly there are oil platforms visible at 6.2 and 9.1 miles.
That's not the argument. If the horizon was... Let's just do that again.
1 foot above the ground to the horizon line is only 1.22 miles out, yet clearly there are oil platforms.
The horizon's only 1.22 miles out. If you're at 1
He
foot.
said from about 1 foot. Yeah.
Okay.
It's visible at 6.2 and 9.1 miles.
Okay, yeah, that's correct. That's what the picture shows.
Bye-bye, ball.
At Flat Earther. Lazy. You clearly don't know who you're dealing with, but that's okay. Now, to dismantle your argument...
Sorry, what? What was the first point of the first statement?
Oh, we know who we're dealing with.
You don't know who you're dealing with. What?
That's where he divorced the picture from the argument. Now he's going to talk about the oil rigs and refraction.
Argument. That image you posted, I have seen it many times before. First, I will grant you the assumption that the camera is indeed 1 foot off the ground, though neither you nor I could prove that it is entire.
Oh,
If
yes,
so,
we can.
we
No,
will also know that the horizon...
So he didn't even watch the video.
yeah. Does he say photograph?
cute.
Hold on. Wait, does he say photograph? That image that you posted, you mean the still taken from the video? Where he shows precisely where he is. That image still from a video. That.
Yes.
So what's the issue here, Blueprint? Did you not go and Google it? Did your Google search not turn out to show you that it's not an image, it's actually from a video, where it categorically gives you clear and obvious evidence of where it's taken from? Did you not realise that? Wow, what a deep dive research you are. You're really familiar with this? You didn't even know it was from a video. How familiar are you? Not at all. Sorry, do we not know who we're dealing with? You don't know what you're dealing with in terms of the evidence. The people who we're dealing with, you in this instance, is inconsequential. You don't know the standard of evidence that you're dealing with. What a clown. You think you're a researcher? What an idiot.
We don't know who we're dealing with.
Yeah, we do. A
What a
numpty. We
clown.
know exactly who we're dealing with.
Distance in miles is the square root of 2 times the height in feet, which actually was entire. If so, we will also know that the horizon distance in miles is the square root of 2 times the height in feet, which actually works out to be 1.4 miles, but whatever. I will also grant you the assumption that the rigs are at the specified distance. With all that in mind, this could still be a real image on a globe, and here's why. Do you see that shimmery distortion on the rig in the back?
Okay. Correct me if I'm wrong, Blueprint. But at the start of this, even your fantasy imagination land flat earther made an argument, just remember 236, gentlemen, about the horizon. So, if I'm not wrong, we'll replay a bit of it. Yeah, I pretty much picked the right point. I got a horizon from the Black Swan observation. Can you all see that on screen? At Blueprint. It wasn't a deflection. I got the horizon from the Black Swan observation. So his argument, the Flat Earther's argument, is about the horizon then. Even your fantasy Flat Earther is making an argument about the horizon.
Equation 8 inches per mile squared. The horizon's refraction doesn't let you see more. It restricts view via light refracting upward.
Before we get there.
And so,
what was the number I was at?
Science
Sorry,
won out.
what was the number I said? Is it
I don't know.
236?
I don't know, but his calculations were off also. It's 1.22 times the square root of the observer's height in feet.
He said it was 2 times the observer height, didn't he?
I thought he said 2 times.
Yeah, that's what he did
had
say.
the number wrong.
Yes, he did have
Yeah,
it wrong.
he said 1.4 miles.
Yeah, he said it's 2
Yeah, he's
times
wrong.
the observer height. Yeah, he's wrong.
Yep.
Okay, so just before we lose track of where I just took us back to, So the straw man flat earther in his imagination land fantasy has made the argument clear from the offset. It's about the horizon, right? So why aren't we looking at the horizon in his response? Why are we looking at the oil rigs? The oil rigs, in the argument that he laid out also, were denoted for only their distance, which you accepted. So far, he's accepted that they're at the distance that they've been claimed to be at, and that the argument is about the horizon. Am I wrong?
Well, he's divorced it. He's divorced it in his mind. There's the picture that he wants to argue about, and then there's the modus tollens that deals with the picture. He can't put them together.
He's doing what they all do. He's throwing the diversionary tactic in real quick.
Okay, well, let me remind the audience. If the Earth is a sphere with a radius of 3959 miles, then every distance to horizon measurement can be no more than 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. And the distance to the horizon in this image is beyond the limitation at 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet, which would put Earth curve, a hill blocking your view, at 1.2 miles based on a 1 foot observer height. Now, the horizon we know is beyond that because there's a demarcation for the distance of the oil rigs, and the horizon is beyond it. So the horizon is not Earth curve blocking your view of the oil rigs at 1.2 miles. Therefore, the horizon is not Earth curve because it's not a hill blocking your view. Hills don't move with refraction. So why aren't we addressing the horizon? Why are we addressing the oil rigs when the argument is very specifically about the horizon, and he acknowledged that, and about the distances to the oil rigs with respect to the horizon, which he also acknowledged?
Well, he actually did address the horizon because he said incorrectly, right, within his own model, that from a 1 foot observation height, the horizon should be 1.4 miles away, right? So he's already completely debunked his own video because he's already after, even though he's incorrect in his own math, he still has placed it way before where we see it. So he's already after admitting that the horizon shouldn't be, even within his own incorrect maths, no more than 1.4 miles away from a 1 foot observation height. Where's he going to go from there?
Right. Yeah, it's beyond. So he's saying, all right, 1.4 miles. Okay. Yeah, the horizon's beyond 10 because the oil rigs are at 10 and the horizon's behind them. So what? It should be at 1.4. Oh, that's wrecked. Oh, check it out. Thank you to FE Patriot for the super chat. Who says wrecked. Indeed.
Especially after conceding that he would take the assumption of the measurements to the oil rigs being correct. He didn't even see that. He did that. Wow.
Atmospheric distortion, which is a result of changing air densities over the water.
Okay. So changing densities over the water. Is that what he said?
After he said atmospheric.
Do you see that shimmery distortion on the rig in the back? This is called atmospheric distortion.
Oh, really? Atmospheric distortion? Atmospheric distortion would be 7/6 of the radius value in sphere-shaped oxymoronic air. In a sphere shape, when air takes the shape of its containment. There is no sphere-shaped air atmosphere. And if you're asserting in a model, not in photos, that we have a orthographic representation of light traversing as a ray at 7/6 or any derivative that you want to imply of the radius of Earth in an orthographic view, I think I mentioned that already, then that is definitely nothing to do with any of the conditions in this image. 7/6 of the R value requires an R value, which would also require a geometric horizon to be measured. To give you the derivation of that R value that you imply is atmosphere, air shaped in a sphere, refraction. That's the mathematical value at 7/6 R in standard form. Sod all to do with what's causing wonky cranes, and everything to do with an R value assumption.
Which is a result of...
sorry. I just want to say, I shouted in earlier, but I don't know if it was heard because I was talking over people. He's for the people who don't know different, right? It's for the new people. But what this guy's after doing, besides the fact that he just ruined his own argument with his incorrect maths and given it an actual point, an actual point of 1.4 miles to his horizon, his geometric horizon, he's now about to step on a landmine when he was bringing his refraction into it. He doesn't know what 7/6R is. He doesn't understand the difference between actual refraction and 7/6R. 7/6R and greater than 7/6R, right, means that the globe Earth is not a circle, right? If you want to see it orthographically, it's not a circle. It means that the globe Earth is constantly an arc length of different deviations. He doesn't know what that is, but he's about to bring that into the argument as if it's some kind of an argument. I'll shut up.
Okay, number one, we haven't got 7/6 of the Earth's radius in orthographic view to say that that's occurring, and he said it's atmospheric refraction. No, it isn't. That's atmosphere, sphere-shaped air not escaping into a vacuum, which is oxymoronic. It exists in a globe Earth model with a light bending in an orthographic view at a rate of the radius. Well, that's sod all to do with this image. Further to that, the argument, that's modus tollens if Earth was a sphere radius 3959, then every distance to the horizon could be measured no more than 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet, because that's where your Earth curve hill, according to the maths in Muppet Vision, with atmospheric refraction included, would be. Because it's a geometric limitation to your view that boats are supposed to go over and is supposed to block boats, buildings, and oil rigs. It's a crap what you say 7/6R in Muppet Vision is doing to the cranes when the horizon's behind them. So it's not Earth curve blocking your view of the cranes, is it? Yeah, they're not behind Earth curve. But your maths asserts that they are at 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. Sod all to do with atmosphere, sphere-shaped air. This isn't refraction. This isn't in Muppet Vision, my friend. Who was that from G+? Go ahead.
Yeah, that was me. Now, I know this is low-hanging fruit, but the numpty dipshit, the modus tollens argument has nothing to do with the oil rigs. Why are you bonehead blueprint? This argument is about the horizon, not your frigging, they're just demarcations of distance. So he's going to focus in on the oil rigs, right? That's not the argument. It's an idiot red herring fallacy from a bonehead.
I would also add to that. Let's just sit. I'm glad that he's doing this, because let's just sit back and listen how he makes an optical argument as opposed to the argument he should be making, which is what? Geometric. Thanks.
Changing air densities over the water. What we are witnessing is probably just a semi-rare atmospheric distortion.
Sorry, atmosphere, sphere-shaped air distortion? No, there's no air distortion in sphere-shaped oxymoronic air, because 7/6 of the radius value takes place in orthographic Muppet Vision. That's you seeing the side of your own head and the target, and then drawing a line between the two that bends at 7/6 of the radius, or any derivative thereof. Yet that's a mathematical derivation within a globe model that assumes R, which cannot be acquired if we have refraction, because you can never acquire the R value at the geometric horizon to assert that you've got a R-based refraction. So this is paradoxically nonsensical, because you can't use R in your refraction claim if you can't acquire R at the geometric horizon. It's a paradox. So no, it's not atmosphere causing this. Refraction of the cranes when the argument's about the horizon and the geometry of Earth curve.
Called Fata Morgana. P.S. I know that you're not lazy, so you'll look that one up. This is
Fata Morgana is a description of things that happen in your view. That's not 7/6 of a radius value. Kind of a numpty doesn't do any background research into what refraction is.
He also doesn't know what a Fata Morgana is, you fucking clown.
No swearing.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, he's what he's at present doing is showing us exactly who he is. He said we don't know who he is. We do now, and he's also showing that he doesn't know what he's talking about. The main point is he's at present making our argument, which is that the horizon is not geometric. So not.
I love
so,
it.
Not,
Exactly.
the horizon is not a point of geometric tangency, so it can't be used for measurement. So you can't get a globe's geometry via that or any other way. So that's
with what we see, and it explains why there are only a few examples like this. Seriously, try to find just a few more photos like this.
What? Sorry, hold on. If the frame rate of the video is 24 frames a second, what is it about? About a 5-minute video? Yeah, there's literally thousands of pictures. If you want to assume that this is a picture when it's come from a video, it's a still. Yeah, so that just with this one alone, there's thousands just for this example because it's a video. Further to that, there's plenty of other black swans, but that demonstrates that you don't understand at a fundamental level what black swan means. You haven't looked up what the term, the Karl Popper analogy, black swan means. You only need one. The example from Karl Popper, if the assertion is that all horizons are physical hills getting in the way, aka all swans are white, then you only need to show that it's not a hill getting in the way. That would be to show a black swan once to disprove that Earth has no physical limitation called Earth curve at the horizon. It's behind the oil rigs. Hills don't do that. Yeah, look up what Karl Popper explained about the black swan. You complete Dumbo. What do you need? You mean you need more black swans, Dumbo? How thick do you want to show yourself to be? I need more black swans. This is only one black swan. I'm sure the rest are all white. You complete idiot.
Well, should we remind him of what the actual claim is of how we know it's a globe from the horizon? Because I don't think he knows it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, you got to beg the question if it's a sphere first, right? So if the Earth is a sphere, the angle to the horizon, the sine, cosine or sine angle to the horizon will be 1.22 times lambda over diameter. That's the geometric horizon, which just happens to be the Rayleigh criterion, which, you know, do whatever you want. But that's how they come about to that claim. But that was used from eye level to sea level, that differential, because the horizons where sea level meets the sky, that's two flat planes.
Bro, this guy doesn't even realize he's supposed to be making a geometric argument. let alone what you just said.
Well, he doesn't know his own model, because the fact that he's pointing out that saying, can you find any other photograph like this? What he doesn't realize is officially within their model, every single photo of the horizon is not showing a geometric horizon.
Right.
He doesn't understand
okay,
that.
between John and Brian, they've just covered the two most fundamental aspects of this, right? No offense to you, Brian. John's being more profound and next level. But the more important point to the discussion of the black swan in this rebuttal is spoken to by Brian, which is to say, we haven't got a geometric horizon then. It's game over globe because it's a geometric claim. So that's it. That's the most important point, realistically. However, I just want to stress what John said again. You're on fire at the moment, John. Right. Because it was proper next level. Yeah. The way you've derived the geometric horizon tangent point below surface level is by acquisition of the differential angle between two flat planes. That's parallels. Yeah? So if you're utilizing this aspect of Earth's geometry, actual geometry, the flat plane we dwell atop, then you can use the differential between the parallel plane of your sight on a plane and use it in reference to the ground surface level. Now, if you calculate the distance between, the differential between those two flat planes, my example being one at eye level, you can invoke a limitation and call it Earth curve. What John's just pointed out is that limitation matches the Rayleigh criteria. He didn't say this, but when applied to the human eye, that would be to say that the diffraction limit, based on ideal circumstances where there is no quote-unquote atmosphere, that would be interference from stuff in the air, in reality, not sphere-shaped air and 7/6 of a radius. The calculation for the diffraction limit, based on the aperture of your eye, would fall in line with where they say Earth curve in a geometric form will be. What a happy coincidence.
Can I add to that, Nathan?
Yeah. Just
That,
give props to John, though. That was properly next level stuff. Kudos. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, I'll try and add to what John said. Yeah, that anything that's 6 feet off the water, 3 miles away, which is what they try and say, that a 6-foot observer height would see the horizon about 3 miles away. Anything that's 6 feet off the water, 3 miles away from an observer standing with a 6-foot observer height at the shoreline, will have an angular size of less than 0.02 degrees, which is 0.02 degrees is the angular resolution limit for the human eye. So you won't be able to see it due to the angular resolution limit, even if it was a globe.
So yeah, if you want to listen to what we've just said in that discussion for Brian and John's summary of what we've just been going through, properly next level stuff, guys. Some days really do feel privileged. We're in fine company with the namesake quantum eraser based on yesterday's discussion. Him bringing the forefront, this observation and the modus tollens to the forefront of the discussion point, to the point where people like this blueprint guy are reacting to it. And then a summary in regards to not only how Earth is not a sphere, not only how Earth is provably flat, but how the hoodwink occurred and how that matches with the observations. And you can define them, show them, measure them in terms of aperture, Rayleigh criterion, and then juxtapose them with the Earth curve claim. So we're showing you where, what, how, the who and the when is kind of inconsequential. We can cover it on other shows and do when we talk about the Roman Catholic Church. But in terms of how the hoodwink works, just go back and listen to the last 10 minutes of this show. Please share the show. It's a shame this has got low numbers. It's because the first bit of the live show failed. So the second time you go live, you always get less people. I don't know why. They just presume that you're going to have a crap second show. I don't know what the YouTube algorithm does in that regard. Please share this show, because especially, like I say, the last 10 minutes, it's been really, really properly next level. And earlier, we got praise from D-Rose in terms of, you're saying how much he likes the show. Well, do what you like and you'll love what you do. And when I was 2015, whatever it was, coming into this discussion, I wanted this show. I wanted people to explain and break down the hoodwink and the whys and the wherefores of the globe lie and prove, more importantly than anything else, a flat Earth, definitively. I wanted that, and it didn't exist. Now it's here. Bloody 89 people watching. Please share the show. It's good stuff, is what I'm saying, even if I'm tooting my own horn.
Oh wait. Also, I would guess that at least tens of feet of the rig's legs are hidden over the horizon. I mean, the rigs are like hundreds of feet tall. Please do not be sad at
What? So basically, just relinquish your entire globe claim. So where the Earth curve math says that the oil rigs will be blocked from view by a physical geometric limitation called Earth curve at the horizon in front of it, you're saying, yeah, really tall, man. I mean, what Earth curve? So just relinquish your own claim then? Is that how this goes? If it don't work, just chuck it out completely? So what about the Earth curve maths? Go on, right? It's really tall oil rig. Classic.
Flat Earther, you are always welcome to join Team Reality over here.
Sorry, Team Reality, you've given us models and reification fallacies. You think you're in reality? No, my friend, no. Reality dictates how you navigate, and it's flat.
Bless.
And so, science won out in the end.
What? Where was the science, Dumbo? You think you established cause and effect reasoning based on a scientific prediction? No, you didn't, my friend. You're going to claim valor from science with that crap? Oh my God, you didn't even understand the argument. Not only did you not understand the argument, you didn't understand the Karl Popper analogy the argument's based on. Need more black swans, do you, Dumbo? What, science proved you right? You thought you needed more black swans, you complete clown. Yeah, well done, props. Yeah, I'll ask Karl Popper to get you a few more black swans to prove that not all of them are white. Clown.
The end. And the flat earther was never heard from again.
At Blueprint.
Yo. Dude. Never heard from? Do you not hear me ripping you a new one in front of my audience of hundreds, 78 people?
Atmospheric refraction doesn't like...
No. Atmosphere, sphere-shaped air. Atmo means air. Spheric, that's a shape, sphere-shaped. Air doesn't take the shape of a sphere and not disperse into sky vacuums. Air, that's atmo, takes the shape of whatever containment it has. There's laws of nature that govern the behaviour in terms of how you describe what gas does always. It will always disperse into whatever volume it's got and fill it. That's gas behaviour. Atmosphere, what, the one that's got the atmospheric refraction? It's an oxymoron, you complete clown. What's this reality? No, it's your faith. It was given to you by the Roman Catholic Church.
You see more.
Go ahead, Chocolate. Out of curiosity, how old is this video? Can you see it?
2 years.
2 years. Ah, okay. Okay, that's it. I just wanted to know.
He doesn't know what refraction is, and he already snatched his own wig off. This is a geometric argument. This guy is a certified clown.
I just want to take this opportunity to say, obviously, you know, we do like to share the YouTube love here. And with all of the response quality that we've got out of this guy, I would do nothing more than encourage my audience to go and check out his channel and just let him know, you know, Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me here. Love your work. Just so you know, Nathan Oakley 1980 channel responded to you. And obviously, if he was to respond to us in this regard and say, don't you understand that we can't see a geometric horizon because it's bent at the rate of the radius that we can't measure to acquire the radial bending rate of atmospheric refraction? Didn't you know? I mean, obviously, when he comes back at us with that garbage, like they all do because they like to beget refraction at us continually, even though it debunks their own geometry, obviously, I'd want him to put my link in his video. That would be lovely, you know? I mean, obviously, in his video, he's going to credit the original Black Swan argument to Quantum Eraser with a link to his channel, or maybe he'll credit BLMSB69, the person that made the video, the one with thousands of stills strung together. What, you need more than one? What about thousands, you complete clown? Did he credit any of those people? Credits. Flat Earther. John Hughes. He says this is John Hughes. Credit to Flat Earther. I didn't see any quotes around any of this. Narrator, Alex, Big Al. So where's the credit for the material you're actually covering? Like, what, John Hughes gets credit for the Black Swan? Who's John Hughes? He's certainly not Quantum Eraser. He's the one who gave you every slide you used with the Black Swan argument in it. You know, the bye-bye ball? That was Quantum Eraser's. Why haven't you credited him? It's because you're a scumbag. Yeah, one who does no research and doesn't credit anybody who's done any work on this at all. You credit somebody who, what, leaves chat comments? This is your representative of Flat Earth, is it? John Hughes? No offense to you, John Hughes, if you're listening. No. I went on camera earlier and showed you what a Flat Earther looks like. Go on, whoever that was.
This is something they do. Sorry, it was me. I stepped in. This is something that I find that our opposition do more and more. Is they don't link the original videos in their descriptions most of the time. So they'll attack some video a Flat Earther made, because I know they've done it with me, and they never link my original video. So my video that they're attacking or something. So there's no context given to somebody who doesn't know any different. So they're making sure the context or any straw man argument they made or any misrepresentation of the video that they made in their video is never found out unless somebody goes and makes a point of doing research. But they also know someone puts in the term Brian's Logic into YouTube, they may not find me. They might find stupid things where I'm linked in. Videos made by anti-flat earthers that I'm linked in. The same as with the name Nathan Oakley. They may not find you. They're going to find a couple of pages of BS before they ever get to anything to do with you. So they know this and they use it to their advantage. They don't link the video. So then if someone does want to go find whoever, maybe it's Taboo Conspiracy, whoever made the video, they're going to have a hard time finding that person. And then if they do, they have to find the video. And only someone who really, really wants to know is going to do that. So it's like if these people had an argument, why are they so scared about linking the original video? If your argument is not a straw man or a misrepresentation of the original video, and the original video is wrong, then you should be able to link it there into your description, like I do with their videos, with total confidence. You know, That's what I would say.
Strix view via light refracting upward. Link, link, link.
Sorry, these are links to atmospheric refraction, are they? No, you said atmospheric refraction. So this warm, hot, this imagery, this is not 7/6 of a radius, my friend. You know, when you want to claim something like terrestrial refraction, aka atmospheric refraction, aka standard refraction, then don't show something that is clearly something happening in the world we experience, as opposed to your orthographic Muppet view 7/6 of a radius value that would require a geometric horizon to measure R to give you 7/6 R. That's atmospheric refraction. This isn't that. Do some more research. Learn what the words you use actually mean. When you say atmospheric refraction, that means sphere-shaped air at 7/6 of the radius. That's what it means. This isn't that, you complete dumbo.
And we do know the height of the camera. The picture is actually a screenshot from a video. Link. Anyway, using the rate of curvature equation, 8 inches per mile squared, the horizon...
Sorry, do we use 8 inches per mile squared when we say if the Earth's radius 3959 miles and every distance to the horizon can be no more than 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet?
No, it's not derived like that.
Sounds like you don't even understand the argument, you complete clown. Blueprint, you are, what's the word? An idiot. You've got 49,000 other idiots following you, because presumably not a single one of them have called you on it. Yeah, you are a clown. This is not the maths. The maths, do you want to know where it comes from? You might be shocked. From Earth curve geometry. That's the geometric assertion that Earth is a sphere. As asserted in the modus tollens, if Earth's a sphere radius 3959, every distance to horizon can be no more than 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. Sorry, is that 8 inches per mile squared? Where did that come in?
Horizons should only be observed at 1.22 miles, not over 9 miles. Once
Did
again,
he just snatch his own... Hold on. Did he just snatch his own wig off?
Yes.
Again?
Yes.
He said, as we do know the height of the camera with his screenshot, the picture is actually a screenshot from a video. He just snatched his own wig off.
Yeah.
Yep.
So he's undone half of his own arguments.
On the globe Earth model. And if there was atmospheric distortion, the horizon would still be in front of the rigs. Plus, there are a bunch more photos with less distortion. Link, link, link. Have fun explaining that. Checkmate, Glober.
There it was.
I just clarified the math bit. So the 8 inches per mile is an approximation to a certain section of supposed Earth curvature, which is just a rule of thumb for easy calculation. However, the 1.22, it doesn't just involve the shape of the surface, but it involves the height of the observer and a straight line being drawn as a tangent to the obstruction, which would be the Earth curvature. So it uses a trigonometric way of deriving it and not an approximation.
Also, he just snatched his wig off again on the video. Can these guys see the video? He just showed a second black swan.
Yeah, he said he needed more, and the thousands of frames from the video, which he disclaimed when the opponent, who may very well, although it's not got quotes or any actual links to where this is claimed to be what John Hughes has said, well, he's just ripped you a new one. If you're saying you need more, not that you do for a black swan, my God, then you've had one.
Hit J. Sorry, Nathan. Go up, hit J, go back 10 seconds. He's going to show a second black swan.
Link, link, link.
Yeah. No distortion on the cranes. I mean, not that it's relevant because the horizon's behind the oil rigs again. That's the argument. But you don't need this. You don't need to. You don't need a second black swan. I mean, fair enough, he gave it you.
Have fun explaining that. Checkmate, Glober.
Yeah, it was checkmated with the first black swan. Yet you don't need more than one.
There it was. The video. or at least a screen capture of a Facebook video that is itself a screen capture of the original video from YouTube. Dayton studied the video
What
with
the hell?
great determination
What the fuck?
and began
I'm sorry.
No swearing.
I
researching.
apologize.
That's why I said, what the hell?
What's your
The hell is
objection?
he talking
Is that
about?
an appeal to source fallacy?
Yeah, it seems so.
Yeah.
If oh, I see.
Genetic
When he's gone
fallacy.
through, it's a copy of a copy of a copy. Did it degrade the horizon? I mean, what? Who cares?
It's
Quick
a
shout
genetic
out to
fallacy, muddy in the water, setting the stage.
Poison in the Well. Heliocentric
Yeah.
conjectural philosophy claimers lacking scientific methodology, whilst claiming flat Earth a belief, are the dented pots calling the kettle black, says Original D Rose with the super chat. Thank you very much indeed for your support. Really appreciate it. Just one more note. Again, because this is a second stream, because the first failed, gonna have low numbers whether I like it or not. But it would be nice to. Pretty much, we do this anyway, right? We overcome the algorithm with sharing the show pretty much every day. So it'd be nice to have an extra push as we've made this an extended live show to cover all of Blueprint. Yeah, please share it. It'd be nice to get a few more people watching. That'd be marvelous. If we could get over 100 people, that'd be a good start.
After a short time, all was made clear.
At Flat Earther. Unbelievable. I mean, are we even looking at the same image? We are witnessing
I need more images. Okay, here's another one. Oh, what are you, a clown? Are we even looking at the same image? No, you asked for a different one because you didn't understand that you don't need more than one black swan.
For a 2-year-old video, this really didn't age very well.
No.
severe atmospheric refraction.
Sorry, severe atmospheric refraction. Sorry, there's no severe. It's a value based on R. So what's the number associated with the severity? Yeah? Do you want to give me that in a fraction? Because it's 7/6 of the radius value in standard form. Or any derivation that you want to give me with some number over some other number based on R. That's not severe. Are you thick? It's a mathematical value based on sphere-shaped, atmospheric. It's got an R value in it, you complete numpty.
Maybe he's going the route of the guy that said a refraction of a different character.
Oh, it's slight. It's only slightly looming. It's extremely looming.
He doesn't know what refraction is.
No, he does not.
Refraction. Second of all.
Super mega looming.
Holy shit.
Go ahead, Sean. Huey.
Nah, I quit.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Quit while you're ahead.
And in every one of these photos you linked, look, here's how atmospheric
The photos, when he pointed out it was a video and gave you a link to the video.
refraction
Try and keep
works. When light travels through a changing medium,
Excuse
Switcheroo.
me. Did I not hear the word atmospheric refraction? So what's this changing mediums? That sounds like Snell's law. Well, that's not atmospheric
right.
refraction. Go ahead. You definitely want to say bait and switch, Adam. You take it away.
Atmospheric refraction in the first sentence, refraction. It's going to be a true description of refraction, I would assume. Bait and switch for the atmospheric in the first sentence.
Okay, so what Adam's saying, bait and switch. If you go and watch a movie called Matchstick Men, there's a scene where the Mark has been shown what he thinks is a suitcase full of money. There's a distraction caused, and then the suitcase is swapped out for a suitcase full of something else. Paper. No money. Well, what's happened here? This guy's told us the answer is atmospheric refraction. That's clearly sphere-shaped air, atmo being air, spheric being sphere-shaped. That's based on an R value. And atmospheric refraction is clearly defined. You don't have to look far to look it up. It's a derivation of an R value. It's 7/6 in standard form. That's called standard refraction. It's the same thing as atmospheric refraction. Standard refraction, atmospheric refraction, sphere-shaped air refraction. That's 7/6 of an R value, my friend. What's he doing now? What's he
also
doing?
switching it on.
Yeah, I'm getting there.
Change. I know you've not finished the description he's giving, but look, when light travels through a changing medium, right? So we're now not even talking about Snell's law, changing mediums through different mediums. And if he's going to relate that to the atmosphere, that's a non-changing medium. It's the same, which we can discuss later. But that's more than a bait and switch. That's now what's going to be an incorrect
Adam,
definition.
Adam, are you saying that a denser air is not a different medium than less denser air?
Sorry, based on the assumption that the air density will increase over a curved surface because it's sphere-shaped. I think I've covered this, Chocolate.
Well, what's wrong here is they don't understand the two terms, standard refraction and atmospheric refraction. Standard refraction is 7/6 of a radius. That is the standard that they always have, regardless of anything. It's the lowest amount of what they call refraction that they have, right? It can never be less, right? Atmospheric refraction is when they want to bring it then more than 7/6 of a radius, right? That's when it goes to 9/6, 10/6. I think it's 148/6. Adam can do the maths maybe quickly enough. Yeah, 148/6 or something for the black swan image, that we use. So they don't understand what the two terms mean, number one. And number two, what is 7/6 or greater than 7/6 are? It is a change in an effective globe radius, which means that the globe, right, because it's never less than 7/6, is always an arc length and not an actual. If you saw it orthographically, what they're trying to claim, it's an arc length and not an actual circle, right? And that arc length just changes in how severe the arc is, depending on the amount of 7 or the amount of over 6 R. That's what they do. So they change that arc length. So if you use the black swan image, what you end up with is 5% of the total circumference based off their effective radius for the black swan image is their globe. So you have basically an almost straight arc length. Obviously, it's not.
Fine.
Go on.
Get the picture. I know what you're on about, but it's quite a powerful image that when you see what they're doing to their supposed equator, which we can consider this 7/0. If you get that ready, carry on, but get that ready because it's going to be relevant. Because this is what they're doing. This is changing. Now they'll try and say it's because it's easier to do it mathematically, but remember they're now changing the nature of the surface, straightening it out, is what they're doing mathematically as they account for these types of refraction.
This can be air, water, or even gravity. The light is distorted by the changing densities caused by the intense temperature gradient over the water.
Nah, it's just 7/6 of a radius value.
Look at that diagram, Curie. Material boundary. So they're putting up Snell's law, and they're showing refraction, which is correct. But look at how it's labelled. Material boundary. That's not representative of their atmosphere, is it?
No, they just made this up. It's the same substance. It's air. That's incorrect. We need citation exactly where this diagram came from because this is fraud.
Where's the material boundary between warm and cooler air?
Sorry.
No, air and air. Where's the material boundary between air and air?
Precisely. Between the horizon in this image on screen now, this is the black swan, right? It's farcical, but it's labelled for the purposes of education as geometric horizon. It's actually much earlier than that because this is zoomed right in. Nevertheless, I've got the apparent horizon way beyond, and it's labelled apparent horizon, as in you can see it. Yeah, it's behind the oil rigs. Right, where's the, according to his diagram, material boundary between us and this horizon to claim his bastardized version of the non-7/6 atmospheric refraction he claimed earlier. Now he's opened a new suitcase with this in it because the new suitcase has got a boundary layer in it. Material boundary. You clown a blueprint. Am I blind, or do I not see any bloody boundary between me and this horizon in this image or in the video? No, we do not. Because this would be akin to a description, again, in Muppet vision. Yeah? Like traversing across your view. Now, that's not how light behaves, but for the sake of example, if we're describing Snell's law, or the diagram of a glass that you had earlier, then your descriptions would have a change in substance for the light to change in direction. So, are you going to show us that? Because this clearly isn't what we have in the Black Swan. This is a glass of water with two different mediums and a boundary between them. The meniscus layer I'm going to describe as the boundary in this example. Where the hell is that in the Black Swan? Oh, is it because you were describing light bending at a rate of the radius in atmospheric form? Sphere-shaped air oxymoron. And now you're talking about something completely different? Akin to you throwing up a load of photos of things that happen in the world that aren't 7/6 of a radius? Yeah, it seems you're doing very badly with your fraud. Because no, 7/6 of a radius doesn't include any meniscus layer in water or boundary layer in Snell's law. You're just a fraud. Yeah, like a lying shit that everybody you subscribe to should immediately unsubscribe from. But obviously, in the spirit of YouTube and all that, I'm going to share your link. Yeah? Like I expect people to do for me. Yeah? And say to my audience, go and let this guy know that Nathan Oakley 1980 channel sent him based on the fact that we pulled apart his video when he was fraudulently telling... No, don't tell him that. Just say Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me after he responded to your video in which we point out what a clown you are and what a fraud you are. Because this isn't atmosphere, is it? Is this sphere-shaped air for this example? This air don't look very sphere-shaped to me. Looks like water. It's not sphere-shaped. It's not air. It's not atmo. Why are you showing me this, you fraud? Yes, because that's what you are, a fraud. Let's make no bones about it. That's what we deal with daily. Do you not know who you're dealing with? We're people who spot fraud and point it out as fraud. This isn't sphere-shaped air.
Is distorted by the changing densities caused by the intense temperature gradient over the water.
So that's 7/6R, is it? Because that's what atmospheric refraction is, fraud. Liar, scumbag, deceitful idiot, doesn't know what he's talking about, doesn't do very much research, and has to have the commenter who's arguing with him tell him about the fact it's a video. Tell him that there's more than one example of a black swan. You are thick. Blueprint. Yeah, this is what actual flat earthers do when they're physical people who have shows talking about this subject professionally. That's what you have to deal with. People who call out fraud. That's you.
And since these effects tend to bend with the curvature of the Earth...
Oh, really? What, like at 7/6 of the rate of the radius? Bend with the curvature of Earth? Where was that in the glass of water? I didn't see any bending of Earth curve in that glass of water. You utter fraud.
So too does the image.
Intense temperature gradient. Intense. How did he validate there was an intense temperature gradient?
My problem is, right, like, and maybe this is for like the new people listening. We keep saying this thing 7/6R, right, which is standard refraction, which is their response to the Black Swan, which is supposed to prove the R. But don't they need the R first before they take the R that they don't have and put it in an equation and then change it to prove the R that they just made up?
Yeah, this is why they shouldn't have shouted refraction, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, I'd like to see that intense temperature gradient over the horizontal.
Yeah, do you want to show us in this picture? I want measurements for every millimeter between the observation point made by BLMSB 69 and the horizon. I want to know every temperature. Have you got that? Oh, so it's a baseless assertion fallacy. You don't know any temperatures. Okay, what was the temperature on the day, Blueprint? Tell me that. Oh, you don't even know the temperature on the day? So you know precisely dick about this to make that claim? Yeah, that's what frauds do. They make up shit on the spot.
Well, hold on, because I think QE had a bigger point.
I said no swearing, and then secondly, my point was this is just a cluster screw. Can he show us a horizontal gradient? I'm sorry, an intense horizontal gradient.
Isn't this, John, where we pull out Andrew Thomas Young, their subject matter expert?
Yeah, this was your point. Yeah, I
Are you
thought
able to get that? Because I ain't got it to hand. I know you've got it, but this is the point that, from their own expert, destroys them. In terms of what they're claiming here, which is this boundary to enforce refraction, as we know it. Yeah, this boundary, physical boundary layer that they're invoking. What they're trying to fudge here is that this temperature difference, this density difference, very minute as it is sufficient to invoke this refraction of Snell's law at a rate, as Brian says, of 7/6R.
I just want to dumb that down a bit. Sorry, Adam, to interject. I want to dumb that down for the audience. So the implication by way of suggestion that we have atmospheric refraction, which is also a bastardized version of Snell's law, means that a hill that should, according to the globe, physically block your view of things behind it has now moved behind the things it's supposed to physically block, based on just saying atmosphere and then showing not air in a sphere shape, but a glass of water with a straw in it. Okay, just so we're clear, glass in water with straw proves physical hill getting in the way is behind the thing it's supposed to be blocking. Just so we're all clear what the claim is by him in rebuttal.
Oh, when you say it like that, it's really freaking funny when you say it like that.
I have a 7/6 demonstration thing ready there. If you want, just let me know when you want it, and I'll do it. It doesn't have to be now.
How long will it be? I mean, how long does it take?
Only a moment.
I'll take you at your word. Go ahead, Brian.
That's not a moment with Brian.
I
That's 10 minutes to your average folk.
Go ahead.
I know. I'll make it fast, right? Here in front of you, you have a green circle, and around that, a larger red circle. The green circle is the globe. That's the size the globe Earth is supposed to be geometrically. The red circle is representing the size of the globe when there is 7/6 of a radius at it. That is their effective radius. So this green circle has a radius of 3,959 miles. The red circle has a radius of 4,618.83 miles, right? They say that you will never experience the world, right, their globe world, right, being any smaller than this red circle. So they are saying that this green circle is only ever a big arc length of this red circle. This is what they say, right? So their globe, this green circle, is never ever seen and cannot ever be seen because their globe can never be represented any smaller than this red circle. Right? That's the basics of it. We're not going into what I mean by arc length. You'll see that in a second. So for the black, just for the black swan image.
Before you get to that, Bri.
Okay.
Before you do the big one, just take the red circle. If we take the assumption we're on this ball, and we've got the green circle, that is the physical world, okay, plotted out on that green circle. It's all there. I use the word equate. If you just think of the equator there. Now, when I go to the red circle, if I divide that circle into 7 pieces, 6 of them equate to the green circle. They have a physical place, but you'll see how they miss a place and move, which is important later with celestial navigation when we apply this. But you'll see that move. But 1/7 of that red circle, say point D to E, look, wherever it is, 1/7, just bring it up a bit to about 1:30ish. That D to E area, if we go all the way around anti-clockwise, all the way around from D to E, that is equivalent plotting of the equator. But that zone D to E is dead. There's nothing there. It doesn't exist. The circle isn't completed. There's no part of reality that relates to that zone if you do a 7/6R. And that's 7/6R. So now, Bri, if you go to the black swan, you'll start to see what they do. And as I said earlier, they're changing the surface, not the optics. This is what they're doing, they have to do for the black swan.
Well, could you just not
hold on, I think it's there after giving everyone seizures on screen. Go ahead.
Go on, Brian. Now just explain what B to C is, mate, and we're done.
Yeah. This is going to be quick.
I've got the kettle on. I'm good.
I'll do it right. So, as I just said earlier, that final part that was missing.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah. Was the six segments of the 7 division, the 6/7 of that circle represented all of the equivalent equator that we're saying there. Now, when we look at this one, which is the black swan equivalent R value needed to put the horizon as demonstrated in reality, we're going to equate horizons to blockage. This is the size of the circle you make, but all of the circumference, the equator, is contained between points B and C. The rest of that does not exist in reality. The whole equator is encapsulated in that small segment.
Yeah, this is what I mean by an arc length. The little arc length between B and C, that's the whole, for the black swan photograph, that's what they need to claim. That this here is what the globe becomes. The globe becomes that little arc length there, right, of this whole circle. So they need to claim that little arc length there is what the globe became on that day to explain, and they needed to have an effective radius that gave them of 263 or 64,000 miles that gave them a circumference this big, but the actual geometric globe, right, when they do that, becomes this arc length. That's what I meant.
Okie dokie.
Clearly allowing the observer to see over the horizon line. And if you don't think that atmospheric refraction can do that,
Right, well, it doesn't do that, no, because you're automatically showing, at least you're in line with globe earth rhetoric, a Muppet view of the world. Every photograph to date didn't include the side of the observer's head. Now that's where Muppet vision mathematics, including atmospheric refraction, actually take place. But that's not the world we live in. I never see oil rigs and the side of my own head in the shot. Yeah, this is Muppet vision, orthographic view. Yeah, that's where terrestrial refraction takes place, not in cups of water. So you're way off the reservation with all of this nonsense.
Nowhere in reality, Nathan, are you ever able to see over a hill, over a physical obstruction? You've got on screen there Fata Morgana. That is not the claim. See, again, false evidence being given. Yeah. John Dee will testify. If you want any of these effects to occur, as demonstrated in the image, okay, you have to have line of sight to the object for the optical effect to then occur. If you've not got line of sight, it ain't happening. Yeah, as demonstrated in the picture. Look, the cowboy can see the oil well. Yeah, and what happens in the fact that it raises it up? He still has to have a direct line of sight to it first. There cannot be a hill in the way, can there? If I stick a big hill between him and the oil well, it doesn't matter. The light cannot travel or be moved positionally via Fata Morgana.
Yeah.
It's not the claim.
I'll just do it with my mouse. So in Muppet vision, now let's imagine that there's a mountain in the way of the oil rig. Okay, so we've got a hill in the way. Now I'm going to call that hill in the way, not to scale, but in the way, at 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet based on being on a sphere radius 3959. Then there's a hill in the way. But you're saying because you put a straw in water and talk about sphere-shaped air, the hill is behind the oil rig now. The hill physically moved behind the oil rig. Yeah? That's what he's saying. Shout out to James
Would that be
Mays.
a false equivalence?
Hold on. Shout out to James Mays. He says, good, thumbs up. Shows, guys. Cheers. Or good show with a thumbs up in between. I read that completely wrong. Let's just start that again. Good show, guys. Cheers with a thumbs up. It's in order that threw me. Thank you very much for the super chat, James Mays. Really appreciate it.
your pictures prove it.
Why do you woot? Woot in the pause. Go ahead.
I tried to woot in the pause. So this is what Adam was talking about. We're going back to the horizontal gradient. Can you pop that up? There you go, Adam.
Thank you. Shall I read it?
Yeah, do please. Hopefully take your time, but speed very slowly and deliberately, please. Just long enough to make me brew.
With purpose, as always. Some people have worried about how to apply the reflection.
Stop.
No, stop. I'm stopping.
Stop. First, you have to identify who is speaking here.
Well, why did you put it at the bottom?
Because that's how you cite things.
Oh, that's a fair point. Well, I know. Okay, then. So as I said earlier, when we get to this point, which is the crux of their false claim, how and why things render flat is because of atmospheric refraction. We've seen the scales required for the black swan, but this is the crux of what they're saying to apply Snell's law to get this bastardized form of what we understand as refraction. So Andrew Thomas Young, San Diego State University, Astronomy Department. Okay. Some people are worried about how to apply the refraction law to such a horizontal ray of light because it does not cross any horizontal boundaries between denser and less dense air in a stratified atmosphere. In general, the curvature of the ray is different from the curvature of the Earth's surface. But here, we are only concerned with the rays that bend just enough to follow the curve of the Earth. The simplest solution to the horizontal ray paradox is to remind ourselves that rays are an unrealistic mental construct. In reality, we always have a beam of light, infinitely narrow. Rays do not really exist.
So, Mr. Bluebonnet, numpty, you see this first sentence right up here? This is going to take you to the woodshed really quick. Some people are worried about how to apply the refraction law. We'll get to that in a second. To such a horizontal ray of light. This is the important part to you, bonehead, because it does not, you see this right up here, because it does not cross any horizontal boundaries between denser and less dense air. You follow that?
You're picking up what he's putting down, numpty. Hello? Knock, knock, knock.
There
Just
are
as
no
a question.
gradients, horizontal gradients. Right? We want to get to, hold on a second. Let's get to actual refraction. Snell's law. 1 second. Go on, talk amongst yourselves.
Well, I was just going to say, could we just not grant him that, and then he can't even get an angle to a curved surface? I mean, you can't get it from a curved surface, but
yes,
what he's describing is how he can't get an angle to a curved surface. So he's just really crapping all over everything that he wants to try to believe in.
105 people watching. Woo, 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 woo. Exactly. That's where the geometry dies. You've laboured it. Maybe QE will reiterate it. It's up to him where he's going with this. But yeah, absolutely. Well, no tangent then. Bye-bye, globe geometry.
Well, this is from the physics classroom, if you still got me going on here. Refraction is the bending of a path of a light wave. Light's not actually a wave either, but we'll continue. I digress. As it passes from, you see this, bonehead, one material to another material. The refraction occurs at the boundary and is caused by a change in the speed of a light wave, which is not, upon crossing the boundary. So the tendency of a ray of light that doesn't exist to bend one direction or another is dependent upon whether the light wave that doesn't exist speeds up or slows down. You see this? Here is the boundary between two different materials, air and water. You see this? You're finished. You're a clown. Say goodnight. You don't know what refraction is. I'd be shocked if you know what your own name was. Out.
At Blueprint, I know all about how refraction works. The light will point to the medium that is more dense like cold air than a less dense one like hot air. This is provable since atmospheric refraction is stronger in weather.
Oh my God.
Whoa. Seems like the flat earthers affirming atmospherics. Yeah, that's definitely not us, but there we go. Go on,
Did you
whoever.
say it was stronger in weather?
Yeah.
Wrong refraction.
This is what the flat earthers apparently saying to him, you realise.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right.
And you made the bold claim that refracted light bends with the curvature of the Earth.
That's what it's not light bending anything. It's a 7/6 of the radius value when extending out the surface of the curved Earth that you assume based on the tangent point you can no longer get. Yeah, kudos.
Can we address the word bending, please? We've just had a description of refraction. There's nothing bending. We've got a change in the angle. Yeah, if we are coming at a funky angle into a change of medium, we'll get a change in angle there. Yeah. What's not happening is light bending. Okay. And this is the crux to their claim. We have to have a million teeny weeny squadrillion little bends in these different media that don't exist. There's no such thing as it bending. It doesn't suddenly just start to curve like they do in their orthographic view. To invoke this bit of physics, they have to have an infinite amount of tiny, minute bends that equate to the 7/6R or their 180 odd.
Okay, yes, you're correct. They haven't got infinite layers of glass to create boundary layers to have a curving.
They haven't got two. Never mind infinite. They've even got two to make one small change.
I just want to do a quick forewarning because we've had an extended live show, right? Because of the broken show at the beginning. I can deprive my wife and kids of water and heat, just about getting away with that at the moment. But if I deprive them of this space for too long, my marriage might end. So therefore, at some point, I do have to open the doors, and that'll be when my wife gets back from Rainbows. So if there's background noise, because I'm happy to keep the live show going, but I can't keep the door closed and deprive them of the space. So if there's kiddie noise and stuff, you're just going to actually accept that. If it gets too much or too unprofessional, I'll have to at least end the live show at that stage. But I just want to forewarn the audience in case, suddenly you're hearing kids screaming and all that sort of stuff. No, I'm not beating them.
Okay,
yeah, right.
We know. So, you got my screen up?
Yeah.
This is what Adam is talking about. There's no bending here. This is Snell's law for refraction. There's no bending here. And by the way, Snell's law, also known as Snell-Descartes' law, and the law of refraction is a formula used to describe the relationship between the angles of incidence and refraction when referring to light or other waves. Light's not a wave, by the way, but I digress. Passing through, here we go again, a boundary between, two different isotropic media, and they give examples such as water, glass, or air. You see this, numpty, bonehead, blueprint. See this, air and water. You see the boundary. There's no bending. That wouldn't be refraction. You're a joke. You know what you are? You're a pretender clown fraud.
Quick question, Huey,
Have a nice day.
on this. When they were making their claim, they were saying the medium in which this was occurring was and the differential was the warmer and cooler air, therefore different densities as it changed. Is warmer and cooler air a different isotropic media? Because that seems to be the requirement for this refraction to occur. It requires two different isotropic media. So is warm and cool air different isotropic media?
Isn't that what I asked you earlier?
So this is what you get, bonehead blueprint, for mindlessly parroting idiot numpty ball tarts. This is what you get. You get exposed like this.
If so, please demonstrate. Demonstrate light bending in a downward convex way due to atmospheric refraction. I'd love to see it.
It can't be shown because atmospheric refraction takes place in the orthographic maths of a model that isn't reality. It takes place based on an R value that can't be measured if we have atmospheric refraction because we never have a tangent point to measure the geometry. So it can't be shown. You know, this is probably where the biggest part of the bait and switch takes place, and he'll say, here you go, I'll show you effects in reality, as opposed to 7/6 of the radius. We'll see.
Get wrecked at Blueprint.
Yes, hold on. Go on, Brian.
Sorry. No, what they'll show is Mick West pointing a laser right up the way through causing a curve through sugar water, right? That's what they'll show. Not a natural effect. They won't show this out in the real world. And that'll be shown in orthographic. You'll see it orthographically. And then they'll show you the globe orthographically. But that has nothing to do with what they're calling standard and atmospheric refraction. I just showed earlier on, we just went through it. It's a change, right, in the rate of curve of an arc length. That's what it is. Either a more straight or a more curved arc length, depending on the amount of whatever over 6R they need to have, as per the observation. That's what it is. There's no bending light bending down around the curve. It's not the light that's bending down, it's the globe that's bending up. That's what it actually is. So every time I see this, yeah, go on, John.
I was going to say, do you think the reason they do that is so they can keep their eye line straight in their orthographic image, so they can get angles from it?
Yeah, so what they do is they show you the globe of its actual size orthographically, and they bend the line from somebody's eye around it to some point on the far side of it. But in reality, what they're trying to claim is that globe is an arc length that straightens out or bends more, depending on the amount, on the observation, what they need to claim. So the person's eye line wouldn't change. It would still be a horizontal eye line, because what it is that the object that's being seen is being brought up for them to see it. But orthographically, when they want to show this, they don't. Most people who try and show this don't know what a standard and atmospheric refraction is, so they show it incorrectly with a curve going down over a curved surface, as opposed to what it really is, which is that curved surface bending up the way to keep that line of sight straight. That's what it actually is. So they're showing it in reverse, the wrong way.
I want to add to that, right? Because yesterday...
You can after a shout out of the super chat. Who
Go
says dreams don't come true? 4 more hours, says JMLs24. Thank you for the super chat. Go ahead, Adam.
I'm doing my best, JMLs. I just wanted to add to that, because we was talking, I think, with Humble H about descriptions of things. I think I thought with mathematics is always a best case, especially the more complicated you get, the more you have to realize that your mathematical description is maybe not as perfect as a modeling of the reality. What we have here is something so perverse. I hope it's been demonstrated with Brian's pictures. How accurate can a model be, mathematical model, that's only there to excuse why we're seeing so far in conjunction with living on a ball? So this is the only purpose for this mathematics. But how accurate can it be when what we've demonstrated, or what the claim is that this is an optical effect, but the mathematics describes perverting the surface to match the image? This is how outlandish their claim is. Even their mathematics is not representative of their claim. They're claiming 7/6R refraction, whatever that is, and what they do mathematically is make the ball bigger so that reality matches their claim.
Well, that's the trick, though. They can't do it the other way, because if they bent the line like they're saying it is, then they wouldn't be able to, use angles or anything else. They would.
But the point I'm making is the maths is meaningless. We're describing optics in a mathematical construct of expanding a ball's R value to explain images of reality that only need explaining if we think we live on a ball.
At Flat Earther. Okay. Ask and you shall receive. This is the material boundary, dense medium on bottom. Here is the normal line. This is Snell's law.
So,
Jesus.
Excuse me. Did you not say it was atmospheric refraction that caused this effect? So why are you showing us Snell's law? Where's the boundary layer between us and the horizon in the Black Swan? There is no boundary layer here.
Yeah, such a boundary layer would be like kind of not a very hard, distinct boundary, like with glass and water and air. Like, so this is pointless. Like, it wouldn't work because it's not a distinct boundary layer.
Light entering a dense medium bends toward the normal line. Light exiting a dense medium bends away from the normal line. Gucci? Gucci.
Oh, sorry, just noticed. He's saying less dense, warm air, and more dense, cold air. Sorry, clown shoes. Do you think that there's a physical, distinct, material boundary between warm and cold air? Air is comprised mostly of gaps. You don't know what bloody air is. Yeah, this doesn't form a boundary, you utter clown.
Maybe he's thinking of it like a fluid.
No, he's not. He's a fraud. You need citation for this or you're a fraud. You just conjured this. I just debunked you just a few minutes ago, showing you what actual Snell's law was. From physics classroom that was cited, you just made this up.
Can you read it again with regards to the requirement, John? I pointed out earlier. What's the requirement for Snell's law to exist?
2 isotropic media.
Right. Is warm and cold air 2 isotropic media different ones, or is it just one?
No, both the cold and the hot are anisotropic.
I got a second question. Is Adam just asked if warm or cold air? My question is less dense or more dense air a different isotropic media?
No.
No.
Nope.
Ouch.
Fraud.
Here is an object obscured by the horizon. Here.
No. This is not an object obscured by the horizon. Do you want to show me where the horizon is in this image? Maybe you don't know what a horizon is. Yeah, it's the apparent boundary between what? The sky and the ground or sea? Like, this doesn't have that. What this is an orthographic tangent point based horizon that you claim is a physical hill between you and these oil rigs. We never see this. This isn't what was shown in the Black Swan image. Did you see BLMS's head in the image? Yeah, did we see Bo? No, surprisingly, when you take a picture of something, you don't see the side of your own head.
Here is that same scenario, now with air and a density gradient.
But where's the density gradient? I don't see any cool air, warm air. Further to that, imagery doesn't appear like this. We don't see the side of our own head. And what atmospheric refraction is actually, described by Brian earlier, an extension of the curved surface you assume. And the curved surface you assume is based on a tangent point horizon that you're currently debunking in this claim. What a numpty.
Yeah, we need the horizontal density gradient also.
Right, because it makes no sense. If you're looking top down on a layer, it's not going to give you the bending. It's going to mirror it. Because if the angle becomes too steep, it's just going to be a mirror. It doesn't actually work. It makes no sense to show it like this.
Okay, for anybody who's joining us late in the game, right, so this is Blueprint. And as I would encourage anybody who makes videos about me to do, we're going to share his link in the live stream chat so that you can go and let him know that Nathan Oakley 1980 sent you and how much you admire his work. Maybe drop in a hint that we've responded to his video. Hopefully he'll do the same for me when he responds. If he responds, if anybody responds, we're covering a lot of people, so I'm going to do it for all of them. Share the love. Go and subscribe today to Blueprint, who obviously is making fantastic material for us to respond to.
Light behaves according to Snell's law.
But I think we've addressed what's about to come up now is what we've addressed, and this is his false claim that the way in which the light is going to not bend but be refracted in a multitude of ways, is based on the premise of this warm and cold air. We've demonstrated that is. We've cited that is not the case. Yeah, so wherever it goes from here, his evidence is false.
Clearly bends light along the curvature of the Earth and raises the image slightly. What? Now, I realize that you have just been thoroughly wrecked, and you will not soon recover from this.
Oh, you declared victory at that point, did you, Blueprint?
What happened to the hill? Why didn't the hill refract?
He thinks he's cool, is what the problem is.
Yo, dude. Yeah.
Gucci.
There's a hill that's physically obscuring your view. Now, based on the image you gave us earlier, you drew a tangent point to what you called a horizon. It wasn't. It was a single point of tangency in an orthographic view. It wasn't a horizon. Nobody in their right mind who's got eyes to see will ever look at a horizon and see a single point of tangency in orthographic view. But you called it the horizon when you drew a straight line in line with the geometry you'll need, that's a tangent point, to that horizon. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but this nonsense doesn't have a tangent anymore. It still has the hill in the way, though, doesn't it? Yeah, this hill's still in the way of the oil rig? You're saying what, light bends around to see the oil rig? Oh, right. What about this hill that's in the way? Does this effect project this hill behind the oil rig? Because that's what you're saying this effect will do. When you remove the point of tangency, your globe maths, including terrestrial atmospheric-based refraction, based on R, requires. You need a tangent for this geometric assertion. Oh, no, it's just this random 3 lines that bend at a point. Is this the boundary layer, you utter clown? Check it out in the top right-hand corner. Boundary layer, black line. Is that this? Is this the boundary layer? Is this the point where it changes direction from straight? I thought it was bending. Now it's a series of connected straight lines. Is this the boundary, you utter clown? There's no boundary
Nathan,
here.
He's got the basic function of refraction completely 90 degrees wrong, because refraction really happens when you're much more perpendicular to the surface, right? That's when it starts to change the angle and all that through the medium transition, looking straight at a flat plate of glass, for example. But if the angle becomes too steep, you're looking past the medium, it's not going to really refract at some point anymore. You're not going to see through it. No, it's going to reflect. So he got the entire foundational concept of basic refraction mechanics completely 90 degrees wrong.
This is the image slightly. What? Now, I realize that you have just been thoroughly wrecked, and you will not soon recover from this. Frankly, I'm embarrassed for you, at Flat Earther, as you should be.
No, au contraire.
If I were you, I would not reply to this thread anymore.
I've just done a 2 3/4 hour live stream based on it, my friend. There was a lot of nonsense to rip to shreds.
God bless.
God bless. Okay.
Flat Earther.
And so, another debate comes to a close.
Really? Not really. You'd need an R for your 7/6R sphere-shaped air that you bait and switched us with Snell's law. We've debunked that in 2020. You haven't got a geometric horizon anymore if you're refracting the horizon behind the oil rigs. It's not a tangent point. You haven't got any geometry to assert. Game over globe. It closes the debate for a globe because you haven't got a geometric earth curve hill in the way of anything anymore.
Nathan, I have a very quick demonstration. I'm sharing my screen there. If you wouldn't mind showing it, I'll be very quick. It shows exactly what.
Yeah, sure.
Am I on? Yes, on the board. So see this little area here? And it will be fast, QE. See this person standing here, let's just say, that's their line of sight down to their horizon. As you can see, if I zoom in, that's where it intersects their globe, right? But they need to see this point here. That's what they need to account for, because obviously somebody is seen with a camera further than what their geometric horizon would allow. So what they do is they do this. They keep the globe the same, right? But they do this with the globe. And that becomes just a different type of an arc length. So the globe is always just an arc length, right? But it just depends on how curved that arc length is. And they'll do that if they need the person to be able to see over that curve. That's what they'll do with their globe. So see the way it becomes more straight. That's all they're doing. So the globe is always just an arc length that they change the severity of. Thank you.
Were changed, but perhaps something was learned by our spectators. This is what Blueprint would call a win for science.
What a dick. So he rounds it out by claiming
Oh my
science.
God.
So no. Modus tollens, the assertion you're refuting or claiming to refute, is a logical consistency. It's not science, right? The claim of a physical hill obscuring your view, that's Earth curve, that's not science either. If it were true, in the physical, literal, and metaphorical sense, it would be a concrete noun. Yeah? A hill getting in the way. That's not a phenomena. It's not something within the purview of science to establish cause and effect reasoning with through hypothesis-based experimentation. This is not science, you total buffoon. You have no idea what science is, yet you're stealing valor from it at the end of a crappy debunk that basically bait and switched his audience between terrestrial sphere-shaped air refraction at 7/6 in standard form versus what we observe light to do when it traverses different mediums, with his example being a straw in a cup of water. He then relinquished all geometry of a globe Earth by bending the light to the geometric tangent point required in his globe Earth geometry assertion. This was the biggest fail that could be.
They will sing.
Come.
I was gonna kind of say that too. Like, well, thanks Blueprint for making an entire video making a optical argument. Maybe you might want to make another one since it's like 2 years later and actually make a geometric argument, which is what you should be arguing for. But you know, maybe you need some time to catch up.
Well, I would like to give him an opportunity to prove himself and give me an angle to a curved surface using a bent line or a curved line. That I would like to see that as a personal challenge.
Yeah, you can't get an angle to a curved surface. The moment he asserts refraction, or any response includes the word refraction, you are bending the line of sight. Therefore, you can no longer measure Earth geometrically as a sphere. It's a snatching your own wig off, designed internally purposefully. It's incorporated into the modus tollens by the very clever man who made it. The whole purpose of it is for them to say, oh, it's refracted. What? So not geometric then? Not Earth curve blocking our view then? An optical effect. So no longer the maths of Earth curve in Muppet view, where feet and inches values don't change with distance. That's optical, right? When it's optical, we've got angular sizes that change with distance. That's optical. Their Earth curve geometry relies upon them having tangent points to Earth curve. Oh, what's that? The line to the Earth curve's bent? Bye-bye, globe. You utter idiot. You don't understand logical consistency. You're demonstrating to everybody how stupid you are when you say it's refraction to overcome this argument. So no Earth curve geometry then. Bye-bye claim of Earth curve geometry blocking boats and buildings. That's the whole point of the argument, you utter buffoon. Way to snatch your own wig off, Blueprint. Go and let him know we responded. Tell him Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. And shout out to Retro Bill, who says, thanks for the brain damage. Nathan, I'm rocking in the corner with my straight jacket on. Thank you very much for the super chat. Really appreciate the support, Retro Bill.
Yeah, so Nathan,
I'm
what
gonna
you're
need some
saying...
royalties for all this copyright infringement of my snatch your own wig. QE.
No. I started the snatching the wig. There,
Bro. We're gonna have to holler about this.
Let's just see what we've got. Well, we might have something else at the end while you guys run pursuit out.
Praises of this victory for 1,000 generations. But beware, the flat earthers will come. They will be in the comment section under this very video, sowing chaos. Descend to the comment section at
we might do that. We might have a little look at your comment section and see what has been left and what's been censored away. If we can find it. Okay, cool. I think that's all we've got to add. We might go to the after show to have a look at his comment section, as he suggested we do that.
Well, I just want to say that copyrighted is QEs, but snatching the wig off, that would be Chocolate Sands.
Negative. You're incorrect.
It was
I sent Chocolate. Wait. I sent Chocolate a video of people evaluating Zeppelin's song. They were evaluating, and she said, which I already knew, that he just snatched his own wig off. Remember that chocolate? Own up to it. Hit him with the wall, chocolate.
I don't remember that.
Yeah,
I never got that from any video.
Yeah,
I vaguely remember Brian saying it.
Swan.
Brian saying it a couple of weeks earlier, I remember. Anyway, shout out to D's Nuts. You've just given me money. Really appreciate the support. Thank you very much.
But you did just say D's nut on air, so that was.
Did you make
that?
Yeah, but that's the name. No.
That's the name of the person giving me the super chat.
Guys, D33Z. Nuts.
D's Nuts.
Thanks.
That's what it says.
Brian.
That's just
said he
lead
was
speak.
Brian said he was going to be quick. It was 1 minute and 15 seconds, Brian, just to let you know.
Thank you.
Okay, there's a little bit left.
quick
We'll
for
just see what else
Brian.
he's got to say. There might be some golden nugget right at the end. Who knows?
At your own peril. Though, who knows? Perhaps in engaging with a flat earther, you too may learn something new today.
Finish.
Yeah, that's it.
Didn't he?
That's it.
Finish with the truth. Engage with a flat earther and you might learn something true today.
You might learn something true, like I should be making a geometric argument, but I just made a whole video about how it's optical. Thanks.
Yeah, if there is a blockage, let's just say there's 60 foot of something blocked by an optical blockage, what has any of that got to do with geometry or something physical? Nothing. So what's the point making the argument? Why would you waste your time making an argument for an optical blockage when you're supposed to be arguing for a physical blockage?
I agree,
You know,
Brian. What's love got to do with it?
Yeah, what's what, an inferior mirage? Well, that's nothing to do with globe.
And in defense of Brian, when Kiwi measured the amount of time that Brian just used, a minute 15 seconds, he didn't account for time dilation. I about guarantee that.
I would point out one thing he didn't.
Did you factor in time dilation, QE? I'm eating.
Yeah, he's gone quiet because he knows he didn't.
Time dilation only really happens in the consciousness. It's whether you like something or you find it tedious, then something can seem to last longer or time flies by.
Only happened on Red Dwarf or if you're on Starbuck. The thing I
no,
would
no,
say
really?
that wasn't addressed in all of this is we brought up a lot of numbers and consequence. We talked about the effect of the consequence of the R value with regards to the black swan. He didn't go anywhere near that. He just gave apologetics and incorrect apologetics for why it might happen without any real consideration of the magnitude of what the black swan image shows.
Right. I'm going to round out the live show. We will be an after show to follow, but I'm going to do a little bit of an e-begging appeal because I am quite literally without heating and water at the moment. So if you did want to support me, or you had any inkling to support the channel, this would be a really great time to do so. There's a PayPal link in the info box below this video, so smash that if you do want to support me or this channel, as it would be really, really appreciated. I don't normally do such overt e-begging, but it's needs must as the devil drives, as they say. So with that, I will say, if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering Streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, though, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. So another massive thank you to all of you who did smash the super chat. Really do appreciate it. Liked, commented, shared, subscribed, joined as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, and all that good stuff. Like I say, once again, stay tuned if you're watching on either Premiering Stream. Another massive thank you to today's Discord and G+ panels for making today's live show possible. And I will see you all in the next video.
What a lovely day!